Chapter 210. Genius 1 Second Remember Love Go/Shao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. The Freedom Sect and the Southern Dipper Sect have both sent their elders and direct disciples here. Su Huantian, the Venerable of the Golden Flame Sect, is here to find out the truth, said the first elder. This is a challenge. Su Huantian's cultivation is much stronger than the Supreme Elder, who just entered the Venerable Realm. If the Supreme Elder can withstand it, the Medicine Valley will have no problem, said Yu Yangyu. Supreme Elder Hua has always been very steady and won't take risks. In this area, it's unlikely for Su Huantian to defeat Supreme Elder Hua easily, said the first elder. Yu Yangyu nodded. After Hua Yunpeng advanced, he had been staying at Danding Cliff to stabilize his cultivation and communicate with the 8-Dragon Cauldron. As time went by, almost all the guests had arrived. Then Qianwu walked to the main seat. He was the host today. Qianwu walked to the front of the stage and said, "The celebration for our Grand Supreme Elder entering the Venerable Realm will now begin. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for coming. Grand Supreme Elder Hua will personally thank all of you later." In the area of the Southern Dipper Sect, a man stood up and walked to the main seat. He said, "I'm Nanjun Yuan of the Southern Dipper Sect. I'm here to congratulate you on the order of the Sect Master. I'll send you 2 Southly Firestones. Baidu search lovego/Shao Shua www.aichux.com. Thank you for your hospitality, Sect Master Nan." Yu Yangyu stood up and took the gift from Nanjun Yuan. "You're welcome, Valley Master Lu." Nanjun Yuan cupped his hands and left. Nanjun Yuan was the son of the Sect Master of the Southern Dipper Sect. His congratulatory gift was very important. Then people from other forces came forward to present their congratulatory gifts. Everyone knew that the Golden Flame Sect and the Medicine Valley would fight. The Medicine Valley's Venerable might be suppressed, but what if he wasn't? It wouldn't be a good thing to offend the Medicine Valley, so they had to present their congratulatory gifts. The Fire Tiger Sect, the Tai Clan of Nanyang City, the O Clan of Eightley Castle, and the Green Water Sect all sent congratulatory gifts. The master of the Green Water Sect, Miao Shuei, came. Though his son's arm was chopped off by Night Sorrow, he still had to present a congratulatory gift. Before the celebration in Medicine Valley, Miao Shuei had gone to the Golden Flame Sect. Zhan Tianyi, the deputy chief of the Golden Flame Sect, received him and promised him that if he took over the Medicine Valley today, the management of the Medicine Valley area would be handed over to the Qing Shui Sect. However, since the Golden Flame Sect didn't launch an attack, the Green Water Sect didn't dare to act recklessly. Without the support of the Jinyan Sect, the Medicine Valley could kill the Qing Shui Sect as easily as killing a chicken. The gifts from the Southern Dipper Sect and Free and Unfettered Sect were received by Yu Yangyu. The gifts from the other families and factions were received by Qianwu. This was a matter of status. Now that the Medicine Valley had a Venerable, it was no longer on the same level as the other first-class factions in the territory of the Golden Flame Sect. As the chief of the Medicine Valley, Yu Yangyu didn't need to lower his status. Qianwu had already shown great respect by accepting the gifts. The factions that came to congratulate the Medicine Valley all presented their gifts. Now only the Golden Flame Sect was left. Everyone's eyes fell on the Golden Flame Sect. They wanted to see how the Golden Flame Sect would deal with the conflict with the Medicine Valley a few days ago. As for the gifts from the Golden Flame Sect, wait until your Venerable arrives and has the ability to take them. An old man appeared at the front of the seats of the Golden Flame Sect. Then he sat on the seat that Zhan Tianyi gave up. "Greetings, Venerable Huantian." The disciples of the Golden Flame Sect all bowed. "All right." Yu Yangyu smiled. "I heard that there are many talents in the Medicine Valley. Let us see them. Zhan Ping, go up and see if there are any talents in the energy-gathering realm in the Medicine Valley. If they are mediocre, just kill them. They are useless to keep," Zhan Tianyi said to a young man behind him. "Haha. Well said. Vice Sect Leader Zhan is right. If they are mediocre, then there is no need to keep them. Who wants to fight?" Hearing Zhan Tianyi's words, the Great Elder was so angry that he laughed. He shouted to the disciples of the Medicine Valley behind him, "Disciple will fight." Just as Night Sorrow stood up and was about to fight, Feng Yan stood up from behind the Wuwei Peak seats and walked towards the arena in the middle of the square. Why are you in such a hurry? When we need you, we will call you. These small fries don't need you. Yang Lei's right hand, which was wrapped around Night Sorrow's neck, pulled Night Sorrow back to his seat. Night Sorrow nodded. At the same time, he looked towards the Medicine Valley. Then he saw Sikong Chuyu and Chu Lingfei at an inconspicuous spot behind the Danding Peak seats. Seeing Night Sorrow looking over, Sikong Chuyu, who was wearing a veil, nodded slightly. Her beautiful eyes blinked slightly as she signaled to Night Sorrow. Turning around, Night Sorrow's nose twitched. Yang Lei was too close to him. Her scent was wafting into his nose. Little gangster, what are you doing? Yang Lei, who was leaning against Night Sorrow, scolded Night Sorrow in a very low voice. Looking at the people around him, Night Sorrow didn't dare to retort. At this moment, Feng Yan and Zhan Ping were facing each other in the arena. Original song. Fa. What's your rank on the Medicine Valley's Yuan leaderboard? Zhan Ping asked Feng Yan as he drew his long sword from his waist. 7th on the Yuan leaderboard. As for your position in the Golden Flame sect, I'm not interested. Feng Yan said as he waved the battle blade in his hand. Today is a good day. Then, I'll use your blood to dye this festive color. Zhan Ping said as he waved his sword and attacked. Feng Yan waved his blade to block, and the two of them started fighting in the arena. Feng Yan's flaming wind blade technique was swift and fierce. It was very domineering. On the other hand, Zhan Ping's movements were swift and his sword was tricky. Every time he attacked, he would attack Feng Yan's vital points from impossible angles. Feng Yan is a little impatient. If this goes on, he won't have a good chance of winning. Yang Lei said as she looked at the situation in the arena. Night Sorrow could also tell that Zhan Ping was very cunning. He relied on his quick movements and tricky sword to attack Feng Yan, depleting Feng Yan's qi. The main thing was that Feng Yan's violent blade technique consumed more qi than Zhan Ping's. If this goes on, won't Feng Yan lose? What should we do? Night Sorrow asked anxiously. There's nothing we can do. This is the arena. The Great Elder and the other party had made it very clear that this is a battle of elimination. Yang Lei said as she looked at the arena coldly. Just as Night Sorrow was worried, there was a change in the arena. Suddenly, Feng Yan's body stopped. The battle blade in his right hand also stopped attacking. When Feng Yan stopped, Zhan Ping's long sword stabbed into his waist. When Zhan Ping's attack succeeded, it was also the moment when he was in danger. Feng Yan suddenly stretched out his empty left hand and grabbed Zhan Ping's right hand that was holding the sword. Following which, he swung the battle blade in his right hand down. Zhan Ping's face changed as he kicked towards Feng Yan's waist. Feng Yan ignored Zhan Ping's kick and swung the battle blade in his right hand downwards. No sound was heard. Everyone only saw a flash of blood as Zhan Ping's right arm was chopped off by Feng Yan. However, Feng Yan was also kicked back a few steps. Chapter 211. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with interesting novels to read. How could Zhan Ping block Feng Yan's attack when he lost his weapon and an arm with blood flowing out? Zhan Ping tried his best to dodge Feng Yan's 2 slashes and turned to run. However, his balance and speed had decreased due to the loss of his arm. Feng Yan caught up to him in an instant. Feng Yan slashed Zhan Ping's back with all his strength and shattered his internal organs. Zhan Ping's body bent backward as he let out a final scream. Then Feng Yan kicked his body out of the arena. After killing Zhan Ping, Feng Yan went to Medicine Valley's side and bowed while ignoring his bleeding waist. Valley Master, Grand Elder, I've killed a mediocre disciple. Very well. A mediocre disciple is useless. Just kill him. Go and treat your wounds. Yu Yangyu waved his hand and threw a pill bottle to Feng Yan. Fire Tiger Sect's disciple, Guanzhongyue, would like to challenge you. A young man from the Fire Tiger sect jumped into the arena. Medicine Valley's disciple, who would like to challenge me? Yu Yangyu asked. He understood the situation today. Fire Tiger sect, Tai family of Nanyang City, O family of Eightley Castle, and Green Water sect would stand on the Golden Flame sect's side to attack Medicine Valley. After all, these forces were affiliated to the Golden Flame sect. They all knew that no matter how the situation developed today, their current decision would not be wrong. Regardless of whether the Medicine Valley's Venerable won or lost, it would not harm their interests. If the Medicine Valley lost, they would have performed well in front of the Golden Flame sect. If the Medicine Valley withstood the attack, they would still have the Golden Flame sect to back them up. Therefore, the leaders of these forces had instructed their disciples to join forces to attack the Medicine Valley. As for the Nanda sect and the Walkabout sect, the Medicine Valley knew about them. Nan's Henyuan had communicated with Yu Yangyu and both sides had formed an alliance. As for the Walkabout sect, it was hard to say. At least they were not enemies. Your disciple is willing to come. Enlightenment stepped forward. He knew of Guanzhongyue. The two of them had crossed paths before. At that time, there was no clear victor. He knew that among the current disciples on the Yuan ranking, other than Night Sorrow and Lan Yu, no one could defeat Guanzhongyue. Lan Yu was a woman, and Night Sorrow was not suitable to fight at the moment. Only he was the most suitable. Good. As I said before, there is no need to keep mediocre people alive. Whether they live or die is up to fate, the great elder said. Enlightenment. We fought a year ago. I wonder how you've progressed this year, Guanzhongyue said, waving his sword. You'll only know after you try. I won't let you down. Although the arena was filled with killing intent, Enlightenment's face was still full of smiles. What a hypocrite. You obviously want to kill him, but you still have a smile on your face. 13. You should learn from him, always said to Night Sorrow. This is the style of Danding Peak. Our Taishian Peak doesn't need it. If you want to kill someone, just do it. What's the point of wasting time? 13. Don't you agree? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I think so too. Night Sorrow nodded seriously. He really couldn't learn from Enlightenment. You too. I say you too. Tao Yuan looked at Yang Lei, who was hugging Night Sorrow's shoulder, and didn't know what to say. Yang Lei looked at Tao Yuan. What's wrong? Nothing. Let's watch the match. Tao Yuan turned to look at the arena. In the arena, Enlightenment and Guanzhongyue had already started to fight. This was different from the previous matches between fellow disciples. They were using deadly moves. They're almost on par. That guy from Fire Tiger sect is already so hard to deal with. I wonder how strong Su Yuan and Zhan Xie from Golden Flame sect are. Mo Chen was a little worried. The situation was not good for Medicine Valley. 13. Let me ask you. Are you confident of winning against such an opponent? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. No problem, right? I don't see how strong he is. He's just a little faster, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow was speaking from his own experience. When he was in the middle stage of Element Gathering Realm, Night Sorrow wasn't afraid of close combat, because of his strength. However, because his cultivation of true Qi was low, his speed couldn't keep up with others. Now that he was in the middle stage of the 9th level of Element Gathering Realm, coupled with Dragon Leap steps, Night Sorrow wasn't afraid of anyone in the same level as him. Very soon, there was a clear winner in the field. In the first round, Qi Ming, like Feng Yan, injured Guanzhongyue's right arm. At the same time, Qi Ming's left shoulder was also injured. There was a wound so deep that the bone could be seen. Blood had already dyed his battle robe red. Smart. Although the injury is serious, his combat ability won't decrease much. His opponent's injury is light, but it will affect his combat ability, Yang Lei said. In fact, that was the truth. Enlightenment's left shoulder was injured, but his right arm was still performing sword arts, so his attack power didn't decrease. However, Guanzhongyue's right arm was greatly affected. He was suppressed by Enlightenment, and was forced to retreat. The injuries on his body were increasing. Then, at the edge of the arena, Enlightenment killed Guanzhongyue with one strike. However, he also stumbled. He lost too much blood and was a little dizzy. Fortunately, the battle was over. He persevered until he killed his opponent. Keiyong Bijio. Free. Look at the small queue. Some disciples of the Medicine Valley went up and helped Enlightenment, who was leaning on the ground with his long sword down. The Medicine Valley was applauding. Compared to the Medicine Valley, the other areas were silent. Everyone could see that Enlightenment and Guanzhongyue were on par. However, Enlightenment, who had rich combat experience, knew how to weaken his opponent's ability. In the end, he was the last one to laugh. Nansheng, did you see that? This is the embodiment of combat experience. Many times, the level of cultivation isn't the absolute factor that determines the outcome of a fight. Nanjun Yuan said to a young man beside him. It was his son. Father, I want to go up on the arena, the young man said. Today's battle is not suitable. There must be a meaning to the battle. Nanjun Yuan shook his head. Today wasn't a grand event for fighting. It was a grand event for one side to show off their strength and the other side to embarrass themselves. The Southern Dipper sect couldn't embarrass the Medicine Valley. Of course, they couldn't stand up for the Medicine Valley either. Very well. I don't know if the Medicine Valley dares to fight to the death. After you go up on the arena, don't go down until you die. Tianyi stood up and said. Hearing Tianyi's words, Nanjun Yuan frowned. This was ruthless. They were going to fight to the death with the lives of their disciples. The faces of the people from the Fire Tiger sect, the Tai family of Nanyang City, the O family of Aitley Castle, and the Greenwater sect changed. If the Medicine Valley agreed, then the next battle would be a fight to the death. Those who continued to fight would have to face the endless battles, even if they won. Tianyi, are the lives of the disciples of the Golden Flame sect so worthless? The great elder said with a cold face. This is the fate of the cultivators. Why don't you dare? Tianyi sneered and said. Great elder, disciple will pick you up. Lan Yu, who was sitting behind Crepe Myrtle, stood up and walked outside. Night Sorrow exhaled, reached out and took away Yang Lei's hand on his shoulder, and walked out of his seat. Lan Yu, wait for a moment. Let me do it. Master, great elder, disciple is willing to fight. Night Sorrow walked out and bowed to Yang Yu. Chapter 212. Genius 1 Second. Remember Love Go/Little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow stepped down. The great elder looked at Night Sorrow and growled. At this moment, both sides were competing to see who was more ruthless. The great elder was unwilling to see his disciple lose his life so easily. 13. Yang Yu looked at Night Sorrow and frowned. He knew what the upcoming battle meant. Master, it is Night Sorrow's fortune to be your disciple. At the same time, it is also a kind of responsibility. As your disciple, I will not tarnish the reputation of Taishan Peak and Medicine Valley. Great Elder, please return to the arena. Disciple apologizes to you. Night Sorrow walked towards the arena with the reincarnation spear in his hand. Just as the great elder was about to stop him, a figure flashed and appeared. It was Hua Yunpeng in a plain white robe. Let him go. After speaking, Hua Yunpeng glanced at Su Huantian. He swung his robe and sat on the seat in the middle covered with red silk. That was the main seat for today. Will Night Sorrow be all right? Sikong Chiyu, who was behind Danding Peak, was a little nervous. Since Grand Elder Hua allowed him to go up, he will be fine. Chu Lingfei consoled Sikong Chiyu. Walking to the front of the arena, Night Sorrow took out 2 sky-piercing grass and stuck them on his waist. He waved the reincarnation spear in his right hand and said, Medicine Valley, Taishan Peak disciple Night Sorrow. Please enlighten me. Did you see that, Nansheng? Calm and collected. In the face of a life-and-death battle, his heart is still as water. This young man's temperament is worth learning. Love Go Little, say Wang Chunanjin Yuan educated his son on the spot. O family head, you're O family's disciple. Are you not going to give it a try? Zhang Tianyi looked at Aitley Fort's O family head O Zhentian. O Bin, you go and test his strength. O Zhentian hesitated for a moment, and shouted to a disciple behind him. A young man appeared in the O clan's camp along with O Zhentian's words. He held a pair of blades and walked towards the ring. The 8 Mile Fort's O family was the same as the Medicine Valley. They were both first-rate forces among the Golden Flame sect's subsidiary forces. They were famous for their drifting cloud saber technique, which was a dual saber technique. It was extremely terrifying. Please make your move. Night Sorrow twisted his right wrist, and the reincarnation spear let out a soft hum as the tip of the spear pointed upwards. Obin stomped on the ground and rushed towards Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's body did not move. The reincarnation spear in his right hand pierced forward. The spear's body was imbued with 20 layers of vibration force. His target was Obin's throat. Fighting with others will consume a lot of energy. You will die of exhaustion. Yang Lei turned around and shouted angrily. No one is coming? I heard the Golden Flame sect has sent a lot of geniuses and monsters. Night Sorrow said as he looked at the Golden Flame sect. While Night Sorrow was speaking, 2 youths from the Golden Flame sect stood up. Sit down. Tai Clan Master, I heard your clan's Tai Fei is very outstanding. I wonder if he is as strong as this young man? Zhang Tianyi asked as he looked at the Tai Clan. Tai Zhongyan, go give it a try. The Tai Clan Master of Nanyang City shouted at the disciple behind him. He did not send out the disciple Zhang Tianyi had mentioned. The disciples with potential in the clan were the future pillars of the clan. The reason he had sent out the other disciples was because he wanted to find out Night Sorrow's strength. Tai Zhongyan nodded and walked toward the arena. He knew he was cannon fodder, but he had to act appropriately. If he didn't want to be cannon fodder, he had to kill Night Sorrow. Tai Zhongyan had learned his lesson from his previous opponents. He did not take the initiative to attack. Instead, he stood there with a black iron staff as thick as his arm. Come. Let's see how strong you are. You are very sad, but this is the life and death arena. After he finished speaking, Night Sorrow stomped on the ground and turned around. His spear was aimed at Tai Zhongyan's head. Meet me head on? Come. Tai Zhongyan raised the black iron staff above his head and kicked at Night Sorrow with his right leg. Night Sorrow did not pay attention to Tai Zhongyan's kick. He poured the energy of the myriad Dao Tome into his right arm and increased the strength of his kick. He did not believe that Tai Zhongyan could withstand it. Bang! With a muffled sound, Tai Zhongyan retracted his leg. He could not withstand Night Sorrow's one-armed spear attack even if he was standing on 2 legs, let alone standing on 1 leg. He was forced to kneel on the ground. Pressing the black iron staff against Tai Zhongyan's chest, Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear extended and retracted as he took a few steps back. Chapter 213. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Kill as many as you come? You sure talk big. I'm Tai Fei from Nanyang City. Let's see how strong you are. A youth from Nanyang City's Tai family walked towards the stage. Seeing this person, Lan Yu's expression changed. What's wrong? Enlightenment, who had finished bandaging her wounds, asked. 3 months ago, I met him while doing a sect mission. I lost and used my movement technique to escape. He's very strong. Lan Yu said with worry in her eyes. She knew that Night Sorrow came out early to take the thunder for her. As a disciple of the Medicine Valley's origin ranking, Lan Yu was very clear that at this stage of the essence gathering stage, the lower-ranked disciples should be the vanguard. Night Sorrow didn't need to come out so early. Night Sorrow didn't want any disciples of the Medicine Valley to die. Tai Fei's arms shook, and 2-foot-long sharp claws appeared on each of his hands, emitting a cold light. Night Sorrow waved his left hand and put on the azure claw gloves. Looking at the weapons, Night Sorrow knew that Tai Fei was suitable for close combat. You want close combat? Sure, don't say I didn't give you a chance. Night Sorrow stabbed the reincarnation spear into the ground, then crossed his arms and waved them behind him. His body began to emit energy. 13th uncle, what are you doing? Aren't you using your short hand to attack his long hand? Nangong Dai said anxiously. The opponent is a close combat cultivator. If we fight with a long spear, we won't be able to determine the winner in a short time, and will consume a lot of energy. At this time, any consumption of energy is disadvantageous. Your 13th uncle is very clear. Nan Nan said to his disciple, Nangong Dai. At this moment, the battle on the stage had already begun. Night Sorrow and Tai Fei were fighting each other. Night Sorrow didn't probe. He had the same thoughts as Nan Nan, which was to end the battle as soon as possible. Using the dragon leap steps that contained the cloud movement technique's concept, Night Sorrow executed the breaking kill fist and bombarded Tai Fei. Seeing Night Sorrow's strong attack, Tai Fei retreated and at the same time, his right claw blasted towards Night Sorrow. Seeing Tai Fei attack, Night Sorrow's left hand, which was wearing the cerulean claw glove, met Tai Fei's right claw and struck out. Bang! With a muffled sound, their arms collided. After that, Tai Fei's expression changed drastically and he couldn't help but retreat. This was because his true energy was scattered by Night Sorrow's violent power. Next, Night Sorrow's true energy was like a wave that slammed into his arm, injuring his tendons and bones. This was the power of Lushan Venerable's famous consummate skill. After injuring Tai Fei with a punch, Night Sorrow spun around and sent a kick towards Tai Fei. Tai Fei leaned back, his left claw aimed at Night Sorrow's right leg. In the air, Night Sorrow's right leg swayed, dodging Tai Fei's left claw and continuing to smash towards Tai Fei's head. Tai Fei's legs shook, and his body retreated rapidly. Zhengji. Everything else /is/2 steel square root addition I. After a loud explosion, the arena was filled with rubble. Yi Shang, who had missed his kick, quickly rushed forward and threw a punch at Tai Fei with his left hand, which was wearing the azure claw glove. Tai Fei, who was staggering, dodged Night Sorrow's left fist and stabbed his left claw towards Night Sorrow's chest. He was going to fight Night Sorrow to the death. At this moment, Night Sorrow's left hand hooked back, grabbing Tai Fei's left claw and twisting it. Kacha sounds rang out, giving people a horrifying feeling. That was the sound of bones breaking. At this moment, Tai Fei's right claw was stabbing towards Night Sorrow's chest. The two were too close. If Night Sorrow didn't let go of Tai Fei's left hand, he would definitely be injured. If he let go, Tai Fei would still have a chance. Of course, the chance was very slim. In this urgent situation, Night Sorrow leaned to the side and pulled Tai Fei's left arm. Then he punched Tai Fei's throat with his right hand. Tai Fei was killed with one punch. However, Night Sorrow didn't manage to escape unscathed. Tai Fei's sharp claw left a few bloody wounds on his left shoulder. Fresh blood dyed his white robe red. He retreated a few steps and looked at Tai Fei, whose body had gone limp. The fourth one. Tai Fei, who had been punched in the throat by Night Sorrow, obviously had no chance of surviving. Night Sorrow didn't look at his injured shoulder. He had already used the energy of the myriad Tao Tome to stop the blood from flowing out. It was just an external injury. Night Sorrow was willing to use an external injury that didn't affect his fighting strength in exchange for a small consumption. Returning to the reincarnation spear, Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and drank 2 mouthfuls. He then threw it to the side and said, "Next. 13th uncle, I'll wait for you to come back and drink." Someone didn't let the jar of wine fall to the ground. Feng Yan's body flashed and caught the jar of wine. He didn't care about the wound on his waist and shouted at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow turned around and looked at Feng Yan. He nodded and grabbed the reincarnation spear again. "Oh Chang, I'm here to challenge you." Another young man from the 8 Mile Castle's O clan stepped forward. "Make your move." Seeing this young man holding a 4-chi-long battle blade, Night Sorrow knew that this was a ferocious opponent. Night Sorrow grabbed the reincarnation spear with his right hand and rushed towards O Chang. After going through 4 battles, Night Sorrow's fighting spirit was boiling. He had a thirst for battle. Chapter 214. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Zhang Xie walked onto the stage and stared at Night Sorrow with his golden eyes. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Zhang Xie wasn't holding a weapon. He raised both his hands and looked at them. "These hands of mine have killed many demonic beasts and many cultivators. You will soon be one of them. You should feel honored to be killed by the golden flame hands." After speaking, Zhang Xie clenched his fists and golden energy appeared on his fists. The Golden Flame School's ultimate technique, the golden flame hands that can shatter gold and shatter stone. Yang Lei stood up. The golden flame hands was too famous. It was even more famous than the Medicine Valley's wind lightning sword technique. It was the ultimate technique of the founder of the Golden Flame School. Yang Lei wasn't the only one who stood up. The people of Taishan Peak also stood up nervously. The second-generation disciples all knew about the golden flame hands. The third-generation disciples who didn't know about it also heard Yang Lei's explanation. "Master, should we let 13 come down?" Aoi asked Yu Yangyu in a low voice. "It's not appropriate. Besides, 13 won't come down," Yu Yangyu said in a low voice. His heart was also filled with worry. Night Sorrow glanced at Zhang Xie's golden hands and put down his reincarnation spear. "Then I'll experience your so-called golden flame hands." Putting down his reincarnation spear, Night Sorrow drew a semicircle with his arms and crossed them in front of his abdomen. Jianxia charged forward and punched towards Night Sorrow's chest. Night Sorrow took a step forward and punched out. Night Sorrow's fist was infused with the 6th level of the tendon-strengthening realm's energy from the myriad Daos treasured tome. At the same time, he used the breaking killing fist. Bang! With a muffled sound, the two separated. Night Sorrow retreated 3 steps and his right fist started to bleed. Jianxia's situation wasn't any better. He retreated even more than Night Sorrow. His right fist was also dripping with blood. Both of them had suffered light injuries from this clash. Everyone on the Golden Flame sect's side was shocked. If Night Sorrow's cultivation was at the core condensation stage or higher, then it would be normal for him to take on the Golden Flame hand. Now Night Sorrow's cultivation was the same as Jianxia's. Not only had he blocked the Golden Flame hand, but he had also forced Jianxia back, causing Jianxia's fist to bleed. This overturned their common sense. With a low roar, Night Sorrow charged toward Jianxia. His left fist punched toward Jianxia's chest. I don't believe you can take a few punches. Jianxia's left hand punched towards Night Sorrow again. With a muffled sound, Jianxia was knocked back by Night Sorrow's punch. His fist was bleeding again, but Night Sorrow's situation was slightly better. He was wearing the Azure Claw glove on his left hand. Baidu search, AI Go female sign Xiao say www.aichuxi.com. I also want to know how many punches you can take. Night Sorrow roared. He returned the same words to Jianxia. He closed in and punched Jianxia again. Jianxia also punched out to block. His strongest move was the Golden Flame hand. If the Golden Flame hand couldn't force Night Sorrow back, then he would only lose. Night Sorrow used the Dragon Leap steps. Both of his fists continuously attacked Jianxia. Jianxia kept retreating, but Night Sorrow kept suppressing him. In the beginning, he could force Jianxia back a few steps with a punch, but the distance between them kept increasing. By Night Sorrow's 7th punch, Jianxia had already retreated a dozen steps. AI Go Xiao Say W. Chue dozen steps was nothing in front of Night Sorrow's Dragon Leap steps. After catching up, Night Sorrow once again threw out a fierce punch. This time, Jianxia clasped his hands together and blocked Night Sorrow's fierce punch. However, the golden light on his hands had already dimmed to the point where it was almost invisible. Furthermore, he was forced back 7 or 8 steps. He lost his footing and fell to the ground. Both of their fists were bleeding. Their bones could already be seen. Ignoring the bleeding, Night Sorrow rushed forward. He arrived in front of Jianxia and raised his left hand to slap down on Jianxia's head. Yes, this was a slap. It wasn't a fist, it was a palm. It was a palm with an energy vortex. The energy vortex was about 1 foot in diameter. Inside the vortex was red energy. Night Sorrow wasn't using the killing fist, but the Zhenyu hand. Version caret, asterisk. Jianxia didn't know that Night Sorrow had changed his move. He still clasped his hands together and attacked upwards. Bang! Night Sorrow's palm landed solidly on Jianxia's fists. With a muffled sound, flesh and blood flew everywhere. All 10 of Jianxia's fingers were blown away by the energy. All that was left were white bones. His palm was effective. Then Night Sorrow kicked Jianxia's chest, who was sitting on the ground. The sound of bones breaking could be heard. Jianxia was kicked 3 to 4 feet away. Night Sorrow quickly caught up with Jianxia. His right hand, which revealed white bones, landed on Jianxia's head. Your Golden Flame sect has the Golden Flame hand, but my Medicine Valley has the Heaven-covering hand. You can die in peace now, Night Sorrow said coldly. Stop. Seeing that Night Sorrow was about to kill, Zhang Tianyi spoke up. Just as Zhang Tianyi spoke, Su Huantian moved. His left hand circled the stage, and his right hand pressed down on Night Sorrow. When Su Huantian made his move, Night Sorrow couldn't move. His body was suppressed by energy. It could also be said that he was imprisoned. This was the power of the unity of man and nature. Chapter 215. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Little bastard, you're courting death. Damn you. Seeing that Night Sorrow had killed Jianxia, Su Huantian and Zhang Tianyi were both enraged. Baidu search, AI go female sign Xiao say www.ai2xs. So they could afford to lose the other disciples, but Zhang Xie couldn't. Zhang Xie was one of the two most outstanding disciples of this generation, and would have great achievements in the future. Otherwise, Su Huantian wouldn't have stopped the battle. You guys said that you won't stop until one of us dies. I'm just following your rules. Night Sorrow released Zhang Xie's corpse and said, "You're dead." Zhang Tianyi looked at Yishang with cold eyes. He couldn't wait to kill Yishang. Zhang Xie was his nephew. Hua Yinpeng, is the Medicine Valley really going to break off relations with the Golden Flame sect? Su Huantian asked Hua Yinpeng. We've never said that before. Some time ago, our Medicine Valley told the elders of Golden Flame sect that we're affiliated with Golden Flame sect. We admit it, but we don't allow Golden Flame sect to interfere in the Medicine Valley. Hua Yinpeng looked at Night Sorrow with satisfaction, then turned his head to look at the illusory sky. It's good that you admit it. Su Huantian pondered for a moment but didn't say anything else. He couldn't defeat Hua Yinpeng today, so there was no point in saying anything else. In addition, the rules of handing over resources should be revised. The Medicine Valley is willing to follow the previous rules, but since Golden Flame sect went too far, we are not pushovers either. Hua Yinpeng sat back in the main seat and said, "What do you mean?" Su Huantian's eyes twitched. The Qingshui sect is an affiliated force of the Medicine Valley. The resources are handed over to the Medicine Valley. Why did the Jinyan sect accept them? Therefore, the resources that the Medicine Valley gives to the Golden Flame sect will still be calculated according to the competition. If the Medicine Valley can't enter the top 10, we will give you 30%. If the Medicine Valley enters the top 10, we will give you 20%. If the Medicine Valley enters the top 5, we will give you 10%. If the Medicine Valley enters the top 3, the resources will have nothing to do with the Golden Flame sect, Hua Yinpeng said. You guys are pushing your luck. Heaven Spreading Wings coldly snorted. Then what can you do if we don't hand it over? Yu Yangyu stood up. If you guys want to fight, then prepare to receive my attack. Spreading Tianyi pointed at Yu Yangyu and roared. His nephew's death made him furious. Skywings, don't be impatient. Medicine Valley has a venerable one, so of course, we have the capital to renegotiate. Let's do it this way. Hua Yinpeng, I hope the disciples of the Medicine Valley will do well. Let's go. Su Huantian turned around and shouted at the Golden Flame sect. The disciples of the Golden Flame sect left. Night Sorrow held the reincarnation spear and went to the center of the arena again, because no one announced the end of the challenge. Alright, the celebration ceremony and the competition is an opportunity to learn from each other. Sect leader Lu can let the disciples go back. Nanjun Yuan stood up and said, "What do you guys think? What do you think, Elder Xiao?" Yu Yangyu cupped his hands at Nanjun Yuan, and then looked at Xiao Qingfeng. The Southern Dipper sect and the Medicine Valley had already formed an alliance. Nanjun Yuan, of course, stood on the side of the Medicine Valley. He didn't want Night Sorrow to die, but he also didn't want such a talent to fall. I don't have any objections. It's enough. Even if there are more energy-gathering realm cultivators on the arena, they won't be a match for this little guy. Xiao Qingfeng said with a smile. He also admired Night Sorrow very much. Many people agreed with this point. When Su Huantian asked Hua Yinpeng to hand over Night Sorrow and Zhang Xie, he didn't necessarily want to kill Night Sorrow. Instead, he wanted to take Night Sorrow away. A talent like Night Sorrow should either be roped in or destroyed. Of course, roping in Night Sorrow had to be done first. Yu Yangyu looked at Night Sorrow, whose right hand was still dripping with blood, and said, 13 go down. Night Sorrow held the reincarnation spear in his right hand, and cupped his hands in the direction of the Southern Dipper sect and the Freedom sect. Then he walked towards the seats of the Medicine Valley. What welcome Night Sorrow was cheering. The disciples of the Medicine Valley shouted crazily. 6 kills in a single match. Those who were killed were the best among those of the same level. This was the pride of the Medicine Valley. The shouts rose and fell one after another, becoming more and more intense. Night Sorrow walked to the front of the seats of the Medicine Valley. He cupped his hands with his spear and said, This disciple has not failed his mission. I'm back. Good. Yu Yangyu spat out a word. There were too many feelings in his heart that he couldn't say out loud, so he only said one word. The great elder took out a bottle of medicinal pills and threw it to Aoi. Quickly bandage Night Sorrow's wounds. Don't leave any hidden dangers. After returning to his seat and sitting down, many people gathered around Night Sorrow. The top 10 disciples of the Yuan ranking had all come. Aoi helped Night Sorrow take off the azure claw gloves that were stained with blood and flesh. There was blood and flesh of his opponents on it, as well as Night Sorrow's own. After cleaning the wounds, Aoi applied the muscle revitalizing ointment on Night Sorrow's wounds. Then she used a medicinal cloth to bandage Night Sorrow's hands, making them look like bare paws. Next, she treated the wounds on his shoulders that were caused by Tai Fei's sharp claws. Looking at Night Sorrow's wounds that were so deep that his bones could be seen, Yang Lei was a little choked up. These damn people. They were so ruthless. Martial Ant Yang. They were all killed by Martial Ant 13. Chen Yun said with a smile. Killing them doesn't relieve my anger, Yang Lei said hatefully. Martial Ant 13. You said that you would come back to drink with me. I brought the wine. Feng Yin said as he held the wine jar that Night Sorrow had thrown down. Then why aren't you pouring wine? My wounds are the same. Can I still pour wine? Night Sorrow raised his hands that were wrapped in a thick medicinal cloth and said, It's my fault. It's my fault. I'll pour wine right away. Feng Yin smiled as he took out the wine bowl. He pulled the wound on his waist, causing him to grimace in pain. Then Lan Yu picked up the wine jar and poured wine for Feng Yin, Night Sorrow and the others. Thank you, Martial Ant 13. Don't say that. Didn't I come back alive? Night Sorrow smiled and drank the wine in one gulp. First release of W6 kills in a match. Other than Martial Ant 13, no one else can do this. Let's drink. Enlightenment held out the wine bowl to Lan Yu. While they were chatting, the celebration ended. The people of Golden Flame sect had left, so the core condensation and spirit severing stage battles were meaningless. To Medicine Valley, the celebration this time was very successful. Night Sorrow was domineering in the arena. He consecutively killed the Origin Gathering stage cultivators of Golden Flame sect, bringing glory to Medicine Valley. Hua Yinping was the same. He didn't fall behind when he fought against the veteran honorable stage cultivators. Hua Yinping, Yu Yangyu, and the First Elder all went to Night Sorrow's side. Are you alright, 13? Yu Yangyu asked. My injuries are fine. It's a pity that I have to wear this robe, Night Sorrow said as he looked at his top-grade silk robe with a little heartache. Night Sorrow's words made many people turn their heads. They didn't know how to describe Night Sorrow. Yu Yangyu couldn't continue his words. 13. You have to work hard. We still need you in the upcoming resource battle. That guy called Su Yuan is the most outstanding disciple of Golden Flame sect. He's the grandson of Golden Flame sect's leader, the First Elder said. Night Sorrow nodded. He then looked towards Standing Peak's seats, and realized that Sikong Chuyu had already left. After bidding farewell to Hua Yinpeng, Yu Yangyu and the First Elder, Night Sorrow cupped his hands to the disciples on the Yuan ranking and left on the Tianyu. Not far from the Taishan Hall, Night Sorrow saw Sikong Chuyu. After letting the Tianyu land, Night Sorrow went to Sikong Chuyu. Chapter 216. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. It doesn't hurt, Chuyu, don't cry. Night Sorrow lifted his hands that were wrapped in gauze, and helped Sikong Chuyu wipe her tears. You don't know how to care for yourself at all, Sikong Chuyu said as she wiped the tears on her cheeks. Looking at the weeping Sikong Chuyu, Night Sorrow stretched out his arms and hugged Sikong Chuyu. I will be more careful in the future. Sikong Chuyu struggled for a moment before she stopped moving and leaned on Night Sorrow. The two didn't move for a long time before separating. Sikong Chuyu's face was flushed red. I'm sorry, I was a little impulsive just now. Night Sorrow lowered his head, worried that Sikong Chuyu would get angry. Okay, let's go back. How about we walk back? Sikong Chuyu looked at the somewhat reserved Night Sorrow and asked. Night Sorrow nodded and walked side by side with Sikong Chuyu towards the bamboo forest peak. After returning to the bamboo forest peak, Sikong Chiyu fetched some clean water and helped Night Sorrow clean up. He also helped Night Sorrow change into a clean robe and helped Night Sorrow put on the jade pendant again. After helping Night Sorrow clean up, the two went to the courtyard in front of the bamboo house to make tea. Night Sorrow, you can't not cherish yourself. They are all crockery while you are jade. Sikong Chiyu poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow and said, Square root head hair percent plus, I will be more careful in the future. In fact, I am also a rotten crockery. Night Sorrow said with a smile. What are you talking about? If something happens to you, then what's the point of me coming to the eastern Xian region? Sikong Chiyu slammed the teacup on the table. Night Sorrow looked at Sikong Chiyu in surprise. At this moment, he understood Sikong Chiyu's intentions. After he finished speaking, Sikong Chiyu turned around. Firstly, he was angry with Night Sorrow's words. Secondly, he was embarrassed that he had said something that he shouldn't have. In the evening, Aoi came over. You two seem to be having a good time. 13, are you okay? Don't worry, I'll be fine in 2 or 3 days, Night Sorrow said. It's like this. Nans Henyuan and Nanxing from the Nanda sect came to Taishan Peak to visit you. Eldest senior brother asked me to come and see if it's convenient for you, Aoi said. Since they are here, it would be impolite not to see them. You wait for me here. It's been chaotic these 2 days. It won't be good if people see you, Night Sorrow said. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Sikong Chiyu smiled and nodded. She understood that it wasn't that Night Sorrow didn't want to take her with him. He was worried about her safety and treasured her very much. Sikong, don't worry. I'll return you a complete 13 later. Always smiled and nodded at Sikong Chiyu. Sitting on Aoi's Azure Eagle, Night Sorrow arrived at the side hall next to the Taishan main hall. The main hall was the place to deal with the matters of the peak. It was very formal and formal. The side hall was much more casual. Usually, the elders would come here to drink tea and chat. It was also the place to receive guests. After entering the side hall, Night Sorrow saw Gong Xian, Wu Qi, and Yang Lei talking with Nans Henyuan, Nanxing, and 2 other members of the Nanda sect. 13, let me introduce you. This is the Nans Henyuan Hall Master of the Nanda sect's 7 Stars Hall. This is young Master Nanxing. Gong Xian stood up and introduced them to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow greets Hall Master Nanxing and young Master Nanxing. Night Sorrow bowed to Nans Henyuan, and then cupped his fists to Nanxing. No need to be so polite. How are your injuries? Nans Henyuan asked with a smile. It's just a minor injury. Thank you for your concern, Hall Master Nanxing. Night Sorrow nodded. I'm Nanxing. I admire you very much. I originally wanted to spar with you, but I feel like I'm too weak. I'll go back and practice first. Nanxing cupped his fists to Night Sorrow. Young Master Nanxing is too humble. Night Sorrow shook his head. Let's sit down and chat. Yang Lei pointed to the seat beside her to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and sat down. There are venerables and talents. It's only a matter of time before the Medicine Valley rises. Nans Henyuan smiled. It's just that the Golden Flame sect is too aggressive. Our Medicine Valley has always stood aloof from worldly affairs, but things don't go as we wish. Gong Xian said. Indeed. The Golden Flame sect is too arrogant. Their disciples are even worse. Some time ago, they provoked my niece. This matter isn't over yet. My father is very angry, and so are the elders of my family. Nans Henyuan said. Gong Xian could understand. The disciples of the Golden Flame sect were indeed arrogant. They even dared to provoke the young master of the Nanda sect. Their courage was not ordinary. After that, everyone ate together. Night Sorrow's bare paws were inconvenient, so Yang Lei took care of her. Night Sorrow, if you have time, come to our Nanda sect. I'll show you around, Nanxing said. Nanxing said. He had a good impression of Yishang. Mainly because Yishang was strong, but he was very easygoing. Okay, I'll definitely go when I have time. Night Sorrow nodded. At that time, there will be many people who want to spar with you. My cousins all like to spar with each other. Just don't provoke my cousin. Our generation is no match for her. She also likes to torture people. Nanxing said with a smile. Is it the genius of the Nanda sect, Nan Liyue? Yang Lei asked. Liyue is indeed the most outstanding disciple of the Nanda sect in the past few hundred years. My father and the elders of my family all dote on her. Otherwise, they wouldn't have declared war on the Golden Flame sect. Nan Jinyuan smiled. No wonder. The Golden Flame sect is indeed blind, Yang Lei said with a smile. After eating, Nan Jinyuan, Nan Sheng, and the others left. Ninth senior sister, is Nan Liyue very powerful? Night Sorrow asked. Not very powerful, but very powerful. She entered the essence gathering realm at 12, and the core condensation realm at 14. What do you think? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and smiled. She is indeed powerful. Night Sorrow nodded. Not only does she cultivate fast, but her combat strength is also very strong. It's said that she has the Nanli fire body. She can cultivate the Nanli fire chi refining technique with half the effort. She also successfully cultivated the Nanli fire sword technique, which is the consummate skill of the Nanda sect. Yang Lei explained Nan Liyue's achievements to Night Sorrow. She's Nan Sheng's cousin. She can't be that old. It's really amazing that she can reach this level. Night Sorrow nodded. Don't just look at other people's strengths. Are you weak? Today's 6-kill battle will soon spread. Your fame is not less than hers. It's just that you cultivated for a shorter time than her. Yang Lei said. I will cultivate hard and enter the core condensation realm as soon as possible. Night Sorrow said. Nan Liyue's achievements didn't hurt Night Sorrow. Instead, it aroused his fighting spirit. In the Danding Peak Hall, Hua Yunpeng, Yu Yangyu, and the elders were discussing the future development of the Medicine Valley. Then, an elder suggested how to arrange Yi Shan's reward. Chapter 217. Genius 1 Second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. This little guy can't be overdone. Thanks to him, it would have been difficult for the others to win a single match, let alone a combo. Especially Zhang Xie. Love go little say, Chu Hua Yinping said. That's right. If not for Night Sorrow, the Golden Flame sect, the Fire Tiger sect, the O family, and the Green Water sect would have continuously sent their disciples to the arena. The number of disciples on the Yuan roll would have been endless. Qian Wu said with a nod. The Medicine Valley can't be stingy with him since he was willing to risk his life for the sect. When he took back the Holy Cauldron scripture, I said that the sect would give him whatever he needed. However, there has to be substantial arrangements. The Great Elder said with a nod. He's not the kind of disciple who would make requests for himself. He would make requests for his senior brothers and sisters. How about this? He's the Valley Master's disciple. It's not convenient for the Valley Master to deal with such matters. Great Elder, arrange for the Merit Hall to make a set of claw gloves with the best materials, Hua Yunping said and made arrangements. Valley Master, you've accepted a good disciple. If you hadn't gone to the disciple recruitment ceremony last year, this disciple might have been mine. Yin Beibei said as he glanced at Yu Yangyu. That's possible. Love Gob Little say, Chu Yu Yangyu said with a smile. He knew that a disciple like Night Sorrow wouldn't be missed based on his cultivation level and temperament. Grand Elder, we Crepe Myrtle are all women and lack masculinity. Why don't we send Night Sorrow to Crepe Myrtle? Yi Xiling asked. The Great Elder glanced at Yi Xiling and smiled. Xiling, the Valley Master brought him to Danding Peak. He would rather waste time coming here to pay his respects than leave Danding Peak. Do you think he can go there? Only one genuine R%. All the other R% are square root J. That's right. Your disciple almost crippled him. He even called him a hooligan. If he kicks him again, he'll be done for, Duan Lei of Cloud Sea Peak said. Duan Lei, are you trying to undermine me? Jingyi knows that she's wrong. Jingyi is an outstanding female disciple in our Medicine Valley. It's normal for her to be a little bit of a temper. Besides, if she didn't feel anything, she wouldn't be so angry, Yi Xiling said. Let's not talk about this. Everyone turned their heads to look, but they didn't see Su Chenbai. Valley Master, how do you plan to deal with this? Hua Yunyang looked at Yu Yangyu. There's no point in keeping him here. Duan Lei North Pole, you two go and bring him back. If he resists, kill him on the spot. Yu Yangyu ordered. After receiving the order, Duan Lei and Yen Bei left the hall to look for Su Qinbai. Did he run away? I haven't even seen that kid Su Mu in a long time, Lu Qinyun said. No one uttered a sound. They all felt that this was a possibility. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao say www.aitrixing.com. Let Duan Lei and Bei Feng handle this matter. Also make sure the Southern Dipper sect and the Free and Unfettered sect receive them well. We're separated by the Golden Flame sect, so we won't be enemies. An enemy's enemy is a friend, Yu Yangyu said. When Night Sorrow returned to the bamboo forest peak, the sky was already filled with stars. Under the starlight, Sikong Chuyu stood next to the bamboo in front of the house, wearing a white dress. Chuyu, why are you out here? It's so windy at night. Seeing Sikong Chuyu, Night Sorrow took 2 steps forward and struggled to take off his outer robe and put it on Sikong Chuyu. I just wanted to wait for you to come back. Sikong Chuyu smiled and looked at Night Sorrow. Don't be so silly. I'm not a child. You've been waiting for a long time, haven't you? Night Sorrow wiped off Sikong Chuyu's hair and held Sikong Chuyu's hand with a bandaged hand as they returned to the bamboo house. I used to think that waiting was a painful thing, but when I really experienced it, I realized that it wasn't. Waiting is actually a very steady and real feeling, Sikong Chuyu said. Night Sorrow stretched out his hands across the table and held Sikong Chuyu's hand. No matter what, you have to take care of yourself. I won't talk to you anymore. I'm going to cultivate. Being held by Night Sorrow, Sikong Chuyu was a little embarrassed. When Sikong Chuyu went to cultivate, Night Sorrow didn't stay idle either. He also returned to his room to cultivate. Now that Night Sorrow cultivated, he completely gave up on the soul-gathering pill, and only ate the leopard muscle-strengthening pill. Night Sorrow's true chi cultivation was stable and solid. He wanted to prepare for entering the core condensation stage. But he didn't need the Myriad Dao Treasured Book. Now his Myriad Dao Treasured Book was officially developing rapidly. When cultivating, the Myriad Dao Treasured Book's energy flowed to his hands. Night Sorrow felt pain at first. Then it became a smooth and comfortable feeling. This was a sign that the tendons in his hands weren't damaged. When the human body was injured, flesh wounds were superficial. If the tendons and bones were damaged, it would be troublesome. Night Sorrow's tendons had already been strengthened. So when he clashed with Zhang Xie, although his flesh was badly mangled and his bones were exposed, his tendons and bones weren't damaged. Time passed very quickly as he cultivated. The night passed very quickly. Night Sorrow couldn't practice his fist or spear, so he cultivated his movement technique, and then sat in the courtyard to rest. Come and wipe your face. Sikong Chuyu finished washing up and came over with a basin and a towel. No need. I should be able to take off the medicine in the afternoon. Night Sorrow saw Sikong Chuyu come over with a towel, and quickly took 2 steps back. Why are you running? Sikong Chuyu looked at the nervous Night Sorrow and said with a smile, There's really no need. Night Sorrow shook his head and said, Then let me ask you something. If my hands were injured, wouldn't you care about me? Wouldn't you care if I washed my face or combed my hair? Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow and asked, I won't let you get hurt. I will stand in front of you, Night Sorrow said. That's right. If you can stand in front of me, then what's wrong with me taking care of you? Sikong Chuyu walked to Night Sorrow's side and pressed Night Sorrow into a chair. Then he took a towel and wiped Night Sorrow's face. Then he combed Night Sorrow's hair and tied it into a bun. Thank you, Chuyu. I haven't done this before. Night Sorrow's hair used to be tied with a thin string at the back of his head, and had never been combed. Very spirited. Not bad. Sikong Chuyu circled Night Sorrow and said, All right. If you say I'm not bad, then I'm not bad. Night Sorrow nodded. While the two were talking, the servants arrived. There were also 2 third-generation female disciples. 13th Martial Uncle, 9th Martial Aunt said you were injured and asked us to serve you. The 2 third-generation disciples said. At the same time, their eyes were looking at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was their idol. After joining the sect for a little over a year, he became the newcomer king and first on the Yuan leaderboard. Both were incredible achievements. Yesterday he had domineeringly killed 6 people in a row in the arena. Now that they had a chance to get close to him, they naturally wanted to take a look. Chapter 218. Geniuses remember love in 1 second go? We will provide you with wonderful novels to read. There's really no need. You should focus on cultivation. Go back. Knight Sorrow waved his bandaged hand. The 2 female disciples were unwilling, but they still went back. Young Lei's words were in order, and so was Knight Sorrow's. Not bad. You won't move in front of a beauty, Sikong Chiyu said with a smile. Chiyu, you're attacking me again. Am I not moving in front of you? Knight Sorrow looked at Sikong Chiyu and said. Sikong Chiyu looked at Knight Sorrow and didn't say anything. In the afternoon, Sikong Chiyu changed Knight Sorrow's bandages. He saw that Knight Sorrow's hands had scabbed over, and the scabs were about to fall off. Sikong Chiyu was shocked. In less than 2 days, he had recovered to this extent. It was really amazing. However, Sikong Chiyu still insisted that he bandaged Knight Sorrow again after applying the medicine. Knight Sorrow didn't object and did as Sikong Chiyu said. In the evening, Yu Yangyu and the Great Elder came to Knight Sorrow's residence. How do you feel? Yu Yangyu looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. I'm almost healed. Chuyu thinks that I still need to bandage for a day, Knight Sorrow said. Yu Yangyu nodded and told Knight Sorrow to be careful. Su Chenbai had disappeared. They didn't know if he had left or if he had gone into hiding. After leaving 2 bottles of medicine for Knight Sorrow, the Great Elder and Yu Yangyu left. At the same time, they told Knight Sorrow to go to the Merit Hall to get any elixirs he needed. They didn't tell Knight Sorrow that Hua Yunpeng had also arrived at Taixian Peak. If the Golden Flame sect wanted to attack the Medicine Valley, the target would probably be Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow was not only the pillar of the Medicine Valley, but also the signboard of the Medicine Valley. After the 2 left, the bamboo forest peak didn't quiet down. Lan Yu, Enlightenment, Feng Yan, Chen Yun, and Shi Yunhai all came. Some brought wine, some food. Chen Yun and Shi Yunhai carried a roasted elk. However, Sikong Chiyu had already left. She had left before they arrived. It didn't matter if Lu Yangyu, the first elder, and the others saw it, but if others saw it, it would be easy to leak it. Not bad, it's roasted well. Looking at the fragrant elk, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. At the same time, he asked Feng Yan to cut off a piece of the elk with a small knife. 13th uncle, you're leaving a little behind so you can slowly destroy it? This means that the odd job disciples aren't doing very well. You need people here. Baidu search love go xiaoshua www.aichux.com. Shi Yunhai said. Knight Sorrow shook his head. They're all good. I like peace and quiet, so I let them go back early. You don't understand 13th uncle's realm. Of course I don't either. 13th uncle, Martial Aunt Jingyi asked me to apologize to you on her behalf. I'm not speaking for her. That day, she really wanted to vent her anger. Attacking your Dantian was absolutely unintentional. Lan Yu said. Knight Sorrow smiled and nodded. I believe that. Let's forget about the past, but her temper. Women all have bad tempers, Feng Yan said as he poured the wine. Feng Yan, are you looking for trouble? If you're looking for trouble, just say it. Hearing Feng Yan's words, Lan Yu slammed the table and roared. What are you saying? How would I dare to look for trouble with senior sister Lan Yu? It's just a slip of the tongue. Feng Yan smiled apologetically. But it's strange. Martial Aunt Jingyi usually has a good temper. Us Martial sisters are always willing to ask her for help when we have cultivation problems. I really don't understand this time. Lan Yu shook her head and said. This time, I made her lose face. I also feel bad. Knight Sorrow said. These were his heartfelt words. At that time he was very angry. But after that he calmed down. Knight Sorrow's hands were not convenient, but he could hold the wine bowl with both hands. Lan Yu and the rest also cut the deer meat into small pieces for Knight Sorrow to hold a small knife with both hands and eat. The few of them drank for a while before leaving. Although they didn't say anything, they were very grateful to Knight Sorrow for standing up at the crucial moment and saving them from death. After everyone left, Sikong Chiyu came back from outside. Chiyu, I left some meat for you. I also have the 100 herbs wine that 6th senior sister gave me. You should eat some too. Night Sorrow said. All right. I don't like to drink. Since the meat was left by you and there's good wine, then I'll have to try it. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Sikongchuyu was very happy. After all, Night Sorrow had always been thinking about her. When cultivating at night, Night Sorrow once again focused on strengthening his hands with the myriad Tao Tome's energy. When the sun rose, Night Sorrow came out of the room and sat in the courtyard. He used his mouth to bite open the medicine cloth and opened it. As the medicine cloth was opened, the scabs on Night Sorrow's hands all fell off. Not only did it not leave any scars, it even looked smooth and flexible. He clenched his hands hard, and his knuckles made cracking sounds. Sikongchuyu came over with a basin of water and looked at Night Sorrow's hands. He said, "You've recovered well. Your hands are also white and tender. There are no scars. I feel that my hands are stronger than before." Night Sorrow took the basin and towel and washed up. "Could it be because you absorbed the energy from the healing medicine? Don't tell me you still want to do it?" Sikongchuyu looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. "You're thinking too much. I don't have any thoughts of self-abuse. Maybe it's because I used energy to heal my hands these 2 days. I'll know after a few more days." Night Sorrow looked at the nervous Sikongchuyu and said with a smile. After his hands recovered, Night Sorrow began to practice his fist and spear arts. Night Sorrow discovered his own weakness. The chasing wind spear art was not suitable for close combat. If he wanted to be powerful in close combat, he had to increase his speed so that his opponent would not have the chance to get close. If he moved his arms too slowly, Night Sorrow's arms would tremble and control the reincarnation spear's attack trajectory. He would change the reincarnation spear's trajectory in the shortest time possible to prevent his opponent from getting close. After cultivating for a while, when Night Sorrow was wiping his sweat and drinking water, Sikongchuyu gave his opinion to Night Sorrow. He said that Night Sorrow did not do enough to coordinate his footwork and spear arts. He should apply the energy from his spear arts to his footwork. When he retracted his spear, he retracted his arms and pushed his body forward. His feet could move forward diagonally. When he attacked with his spear, he could use the recoil force to retreat. This way his spear arts and footwork would be more coordinated. After listening to Sikongchuyu's words, Night Sorrow continued to practice his spear arts. Cultivating according to Sikongchuyu's advice, he felt that the results were indeed very good. Naturally, he borrowed the force from the force exerted by the reincarnation spear, and transferred the reaction force to his feet. His body movement was indeed much smoother. Original. V first carat release Night Sorrow cultivated until night time. When Night Sorrow was still cultivating, Emochin came over and said that someone wanted to see him. It was Tianji Tower's law enforcer Dong. Isn't law enforcer Dong overseeing Tianji Tower? Why would he come to Taishian Peak? Night Sorrow was somewhat puzzled. "I don't know. He said that he wants to see you." Emochin shook his head. Chapter 219. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. What could have happened? Night Sorrow put away his reincarnation spear. Tianji Tower is well informed. You've accumulated quite a lot of experience during this period of time. You may get a higher level of attention. Go take a look. Sikongchuyu said. "Okay, I'll go take a look." "Chuyu, are you not going?" Night Sorrow asked. After all, Enforcer Dong had some connections with Sikongchuyu. "Not meeting. I came here this time because I want to be safe and steady. I don't want to meet anyone." Sikongchuyu shook her head. She wanted to avoid all unsafe factors. "All right." Night Sorrow nodded. He also agreed with Sikongchuyu's point of view. Enforcer Dong was reliable. After all, the fewer people who knew about it, the safer it would be. In the side hall of Taishian Peak, Gong Xian and Enforcer Dong were chatting casually. As the person in charge of Tianji Tower's Danding City, Gong Xian had to take him seriously. Seeing Night Sorrow's arrival, Enforcer Dong nodded with a smile. Gong Xian looked at Night Sorrow. 13. Has your hand recovered? "I'm fine. Thank you for your concern, senior brother." Night Sorrow nodded. "All right, Enforcer Dong. You guys go ahead and chat. Gong Xian cupped his hands toward Enforcer Dong and left the side hall. The matter between Tianji Tower and Night Sorrow was an internal matter of Tianji Tower. Perhaps it was not suitable for him to know, so he left, and so did the others. Love Go Little Say K the only 1K version, everyone else is hashtag Pirates Guy. Good, very good. The higher-ups know about your matter. Someone will come in a few days. They asked me to inform you. I don't know the specific situation, Enforcer Dong said. When do you need me to go to Danding City? Night Sorrow asked. I don't think he'll be here tomorrow. It won't be so soon. The day after tomorrow. Go to Danding City the day after tomorrow and find a convenient place so that I can find you anytime, Enforcer Dong said to Night Sorrow. All right, I'll go to my 9th senior sister's mansion the day after tomorrow, which is the City Lord's mansion. If there's anything, just send someone there to inform me, Night Sorrow said. Okay, this time you have a high chance of entering the blacklist. The people you defeated that day all received the Tianji Tower's attention. Tai Fei has a red list and has a chance to enter the purple list. That Zhan Xie has a purple list. You were able to kill Zhan Xie after 5 consecutive battles. This is a reflection of your strength. Enforcer Dong said with a smile. It would be best if he could enter the black circle. Night Sorrow nodded. He was not as anxious as before because Sikong Chuyu was safe and sound by his side. After chatting with Night Sorrow for a while, Enforcer Dong left. He was only here to deliver a message. As for Night Sorrow's matter, he couldn't make the decision. His highest authority was to raise the red list. He still needed to be investigated and reviewed by the higher-ups. After Night Sorrow sent Enforcer Dong off, he didn't see Gong Xian and the others. He directly drove Tianyu back to Bamboo Forest Peak. I just made tea. Come. Sikong Chuyu said as he poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow when he saw Night Sorrow coming back. Thank you. Night Sorrow took a sip of the tea and told him what Enforcer Dong had told him. Someone from the higher-ups. That means you should enter the blacklist. Under normal circumstances, the higher-ups of Tianji Tower won't easily come into contact with ordinary people. The red list doesn't qualify, and the purple list doesn't have a high chance of being seen, Sikong Chuyu said. Chuyu, what level of attention did you have when you were recruited into Tianji Tower? Night Sorrow asked. Before I entered the 4th stage, I was a purple list. After entering the spirit severing stage, I was promoted to the black list and was then recruited into Tianji Tower. Sikong Chuyu didn't hide anything from Night Sorrow and directly told him about his situation. Night Sorrow nodded. I'll be going to Danding City the day after tomorrow. I won't be able to accompany you. It's okay. I'm quite comfortable here. I also need to sort out what I've learned in the past, Sikong Chuyu nodded. Night Sorrow nodded and went to cultivate. When it was almost dawn, he found that his cultivation of the myriad Tao Tome had reached a bottleneck. It was the bottleneck of level 6 muscle strengthening. After eating some food, Night Sorrow explained the situation to Sikong Chuyu, and then went into seclusion to break through. He knew that the stronger he was, the more likely he would be able to obtain the approval of Tianji Tower. To enter level 7 muscle strengthening, he had to strengthen the tendons in his waist and connect the dragon tendons to his legs. Night Sorrow wasn't worried about this. He had accumulated a lot of experience from his previous breakthroughs. This kind of breakthrough was just a bit more difficult to endure. Night Sorrow controlled the dragon tendons and the energy in his legs to strengthen the tendons in his waist. Although it was very painful, Night Sorrow could endure it. After 4 hours, Night Sorrow successfully strengthened the tendons in his waist. From then on, the dragon tendons and the tendons in his legs were connected through the strengthened tendons in his waist. The strength in his legs increased by a lot. Congratulations, Sikong Chuyu said as he watched Night Sorrow walk out of his room in high spirits. Thank you. Night Sorrow nodded. His heart was warm. In the past, people had congratulated him, but it had never been as intense as this time. Why are you being so courteous with me? Sikong Chuyu asked with a smile. Yes. I really like the feeling of being able to see you by my side when I'm done cultivating. Night Sorrow looked at Sikong Chuyu. Drink some water first. In truth, I also like this kind of quiet feeling. Sikong Chiyu ran his fingers through his hair. I've always been worried that since you came from a big family, you might not be used to this place. Hearing your words, I'm relieved. Night Sorrow said. You're overthinking it. Sikong Chiyu shook his head. The two of them then walked around the bamboo forest, sat in the bamboo forest, and watched the sunset. Then they returned to the bamboo hut to get something to eat. After eating, Night Sorrow sat in front of the bamboo hut and fell into deep thought. He wanted to be with Sikong Chiyu, but there were many difficulties. First of all, he had to obtain the approval of the Sikong clan. This was difficult to pass. After all, the Sikong clan was second to none in the Qingtian region. The marriage conditions of the clan's women were also very harsh. Night Sorrow, what are you thinking about? Sikong Chiyu looked at Night Sorrow, who was deep in thought. I want to be with you. I want to know what I need to do. Night Sorrow looked up at Night Sorrow and asked very seriously. Sikong Chiyu looked at Night Sorrow in shock. She didn't expect Night Sorrow to suddenly ask this question. She didn't know how to answer because Night Sorrow asked it in a very formal manner. Yes, it's a little abrupt. Night Sorrow hurriedly explained when he saw Sikong Chiyu's shock. It's not like that. I haven't thought of this problem yet. Sikong Chiyu saw Night Sorrow's eyes suddenly darken and explained. I know. I'll work hard. Night Sorrow waved his hand. Okay, let's work hard together. Sikong Chiyu reached out and held Night Sorrow's hand. Chapter 220. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That night, Night Sorrow was very enthusiastic about training. After waking up in the morning, he went to train his improved spear art. His arms trembled to change the trajectory of his spear art. Combined with his body movement, his spear art was already suitable for close combat. After training for a while, Night Sorrow stopped and ate the dishes made by Sikong Chiyu. You feel different? Sikong Chiyu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. There's nothing different. Let's eat. Eat more. You eat so little every meal. Night Sorrow said as he picked up some food for Sikong Chiyu. Do you think I'm a pig? I'm already in the 4th rank. I don't need food. What I'm doing now is just training my body and mind to prepare for my breakthrough. Sikong Chiyu said with a smile. I'm stupid. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Don't say that about yourself. You're the only one other than my parents who picked up food for me. I'm very happy. Sikong Chiyu looked at his bowl and sighed. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. He continued to pick up food for Sikong Chiyu. After eating, Night Sorrow was about to leave. After all, the appointment at Tianji Tower was a big deal. He couldn't ignore it. Sikong Chiyu helped Night Sorrow tidy up his clothes. Finish your business and come back early. Night Sorrow nodded. He got on Tianyu's back and flew towards Danding City. Night Sorrow left Taishan Peak. A figure also left. #only BEC Version HQ and HV. He versus both are pirates sitting cross-legged on Tianyu's back. Night Sorrow began to train. He didn't want to waste time. When he was 1,000 li away from Pill Cauldron Mountain, Night Sorrow did not notice that a flying demonic beast had appeared on the side of the mountain and was chasing after him. It was a high-level golden-eyed sparrow. Its speed was extremely fast, and it quickly caught up to Tianyu and blocked his path. With a cry, Tianyu circled around and was about to attack. Night Sorrow, you better not resist. Don't force me to kill you. The middle-aged man standing on the golden-eyed sparrow said. Su Chenbai, are you really going to betray Medicine Valley? Night Sorrow restrained Tianyu and asked. Haha. I am a direct descendant of the Su family of the Golden Flame sect. I am a member of the Golden Flame sect. How can I be a traitor? Your Medicine Valley is blind, Su Chenbai said with a laugh. Then you're going to attack me? Come on. Night Sorrow waved his hand and 4 sky-piercing spears appeared in his hand. Since you're going to resist, I won't keep you alive. Su Chenbai rose into the air and left the golden-eyed sparrow. He stood in the air and slapped at Night Sorrow. I knew you would do something like this. Since you have admitted that you are from the Golden Flame sect, I won't keep you any longer. A figure appeared in front of Yishang. His left hand made a circle while his right hand sent out a palm strike. This person was none other than Medicine Valley's venerable Hua Yunpeng. Bang! With a muffled sound, Su Qianbai's body was sent flying back and vomited blood. After flying for half a meter, his body seemed to be blocked by something and bounced back. You dare to leave Medicine Valley? Aren't you afraid that you'll be killed by the venerable of the Golden Flame sect, without the protection of your spiritual weapon? Su Qianbai roared as he vomited blood. Su Huantian doesn't have the ability to kill me. You'll die first. Hua Yunpeng slapped again. An energy vortex visible to the naked eye fell directly on Su Qianbai's head, who was unable to dodge. The energy vortex blew up Su Qianbai's head, and his headless body fell to the ground. Hua Yunpeng flicked his finger and blew up Su Qianbai's right hand. Then he took back the storage ring. Love go little say W. Chu then he waved his right hand and captured the huge golden-eyed sparrow. You should be safe now. I'll give you the storage ring when you return to the sect. I'll check if there's anything related to the Golden Flame sect in it, Hua Yunpeng said as he held the storage ring. Thank you, Grand Elder, for saving my life. I have the storage ring, Night Sorrow said as he bowed. That's all. You can go about your business, Hua Yunpeng said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow cupped his fists at Hua Yunpeng and continued flying on Tianyu. He felt lucky. If Hua Yunpeng hadn't followed him, it would have been very difficult for him to escape. In fact, it would have been impossible for him to escape. When he reached Danding City, Night Sorrow went directly to Yang Lei's residence. What he didn't know was that Hua Yunpeng had been watching Night Sorrow and only left after he entered Danding City. He was really worried about Night Sorrow's safety. Night Sorrow didn't see Yang Lei. After asking Qiushi to arrange for someone to feed Tianyu, he went to Tianji Tower. When he found out that the people who were supposed to go to Tianji Tower had not arrived, he went to the city lord's residence to see Yang Lei. Yang Lei was very happy to see Night Sorrow. She told Bai Qingshan and Ao Yushan about the matter and dragged Night Sorrow to a restaurant for a drink. After listening to Night Sorrow's account of Su Qianbai's attempt to kill him, Yang Lei's face was filled with murderous intent. I didn't expect this guy to be a direct descendant of the Golden Flame sect. How shameless. But that's good. After killing him, the Golden Flame sect can only swallow their pride. Night Sorrow smiled. He knew that this matter was a huge blow to the Golden Flame sect. Currently, the Medicine Valley had the Venerable One and the Southern Dipper sect as their allies. They could only endure it. After eating, Yang Lei took Night Sorrow for a stroll on the street before returning to the residence. 13. You have to be careful in the future. There are too many people who want to kill you. If you're not careful, you'll be in danger. Yang Lei was a little worried about Night Sorrow's safety. I will. Night Sorrow nodded with a smile. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow went to cultivate. He needed to stabilize his Zhenqi cultivation at the 9th level of Element Gathering tier, and his cultivation at the 7th level of Muscle Strengthening tier. The night passed. Night Sorrow woke up early to cultivate his spear art. Sikong Chiyu told Night Sorrow that his spear art was currently equivalent to a 3rd-rank battle skill. It was infinitely close to a 4th-rank battle skill. The 2nd-rank wind-chasing spear art was on a completely different level from the wind-chasing spear art, which had the power of vibration. As Night Sorrow cultivated, a few disciples of Yang Lei watched from the side. They all knew about Night Sorrow's achievements. Night Sorrow, who had joined the sect only 1 year earlier than them, was like a legend in their eyes. In just 1 year, there was a huge gap between them, a gap that was impossible to catch up with. At noon, a staff member of Tianji Tower came to invite Night Sorrow. Seeing the staff member of Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow knew that the higher-ups of Tianjin Tower should have arrived. Next, he just had to see what arrangements Tianjin Tower would make. Don't be nervous. Whether you're a talent or not, you need to be evaluated by others. But you have to know that even if others don't know, it's still gold, Yang Lei said. She was worried that Night Sorrow would be nervous. Night Sorrow nodded with a smile, and followed the staff member of Tianji Tower out of the residence. He was indeed not nervous. He knew that even if Tianjin Tower wasn't sure and couldn't get the black eye, he would definitely be able to enter the core condensation tier. The only difference was time. Chapter 221. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Enforcer Dong opened the door, and Night Sorrow saw two black-robed men. One was sitting and drinking tea, while the other was standing in front of the window with his back facing him. Night Sorrow recognized that one of them was the man who sponsored him. Although both of them were wearing half-masks, Night Sorrow could distinguish their temperament and aura. The man who was spinning the teacup in his hand was someone Yishang had seen once before. As for the other person, Yishang had never seen him before. When he turned around, half of his face was covered in silver. "All right, Enforcer Dong, you may leave." The black-robed man Night Sorrow had seen before waved his hand at Enforcer Dong. Night Sorrow greets the two lords. After Enforcer Dong left, Night Sorrow cupped his fists at the two men. "I am Jiaoqing. You can call me Enforcer Jiao. This is our Eastern Profound Region's Chief Enforcer, Lord Yin Shui," said the black-robed man Night Sorrow had seen before. "Enforcer Jiaoqing, Lord Yin Shui." Night Sorrow cupped his fists again. "Have a seat." The silver-masked man waved his robe and sat down first, then pointed at the chair opposite him. Night Sorrow nodded and sat down. "Enforcer Jiaoqing is in charge of your matters. I have nothing to do, so I came over to take a look. Aren't you nervous at all? This meeting may decide your fate." Love go little say W. Chuyin Shui looked at Night Sorrow again and asked. He had been watching Night Sorrow arrive from the window. From the moment he entered Tianji Tower to the moment he sat down, Night Sorrow had been too calm. "Decide my fate? It's not that serious. Even if I'm not valued by the Celestial Terminus Tower, I'll still work hard. My senior sister said that even if Goldie is acknowledged by others, he's still Goldie," said Yishan. "Well said. Jiaoqing, you didn't misjudge this time." Chief Enforcer Yin Shui clapped his hands and said, "Chief Enforcer, can we begin?" Jiaoqing looked at Yin Shui and asked, "Let's begin. This time, I came to take a look." Yin Shui nodded. "Night Sorrow, through your performance during this time, even if you haven't entered the core condensation stage, Tianji Tower, after the decision of the enforcers," Jiaoqing announced. "Thank you, enforcers of Tianji Tower." Yishang stood up and cupped his hands. Although he was not in a rush, he was still very happy to have received a positive answer. "Okay, sit down. There are still some things I need to tell you. If you're standing, I have to look up at you. I'm at a disadvantage in terms of presence." Jiaoqing waved his hand at the chair. "Jiaoqing wu Jiaoqing. Jiao Jiao Jiao. It's like this. If you become a black follower, you'll be qualified to join the Heaven's Terminus Tower. Are you willing?" "I'm very willing, but I still want to know what I need to do for Tianji Tower." Night Sorrow hesitated for a moment and asked. Once a black guard enters the 4th stage, he can take on the role of patrol. Each patrol lasts for a year, and he must take on the role once every 5 years. His mission is to inspect the people in charge of the Celestial Terminus Tower, and the enforcers to see if they are following the rules. In addition, he must pay attention to some secrets. "But I haven't entered the core condensation stage yet," Night Sorrow said with some embarrassment. "Tianji Tower can wait, as long as you are willing," Jiaoqing said with a smile. "Then I have no problem." Night Sorrow nodded. Seeing Night Sorrow nod, Jiaoqing took out a token and looked at Yin Shui. "Chief Enforcer, it's better if you give him the Inspector token. It'll look better." Yin Shui took the token and handed it to Night Sorrow. "From today onwards, you are a member of the Tianji Tower's inspectors in Eastern Profound Domain. Night Sorrow understands." Night Sorrow got up and took the token with both hands. "Black is not the end. Keep working hard," Yin Shui said. "Night Sorrow understands." Night Sorrow nodded. Jiaoqing then took out 5 bottles of medicinal pills. "These are your cultivation resources. It should be enough for you to reach the spirit severing stage. Then I won't be polite. The medicinal pills given by Chief Enforcer last time are better." Night Sorrow directly put away the medicinal pills. He knew that Tianji Tower didn't give out rubbish. The medicinal pills were all the best. "Also, let's talk about the medicinal pill you took last time. Our Tianji Tower's alchemy master analyzed it. It can be refined, but ordinary people can't absorb it. Seeing your vigorous blood essence, You should have a special method. Jiao Qing said. It's like this. Night Sorrow didn't hide it. Be careful. The body refining technique is too important. There will be many people coveting it. Although you have the Tianji Tower's black token, some things can't be avoided. Yin Shui said. Then Jiao Qing told Night Sorrow that Tianji Tower had informed the major forces to retreat when they saw the Tianji Tower's inspector token. But there were still people who took the risk. Thank you, Chief Enforcer. If it wasn't inconvenient for Chief Enforcer, I would like to invite Chief Enforcer for a drink. Night Sorrow said. You mean this? Since you are a Tianji Tower's inspector, you should know the rules of keeping secrets. The mask is meaningless. Yin Shui took off his mask. Yin Shui was a middle-aged man who looked about 35 or 36 years old. His face was white and he looked delicate. When Jiao Qing took off his mask, Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment. He felt that Jiao Qing was familiar. What's wrong? Jiao Qing looked at Night Sorrow and asked. He looks familiar. Does he look like someone I've met before? Night Sorrow said. He felt that Jiao Qing and Nanjing Yuan were very similar. I don't think so. Wait, someone from the Nanda sect came to Medicine Valley a while ago. Did you meet someone from the Nanda sect? Jiao Qing asked. I've met Nanjing Yuan's hall master before, Night Sorrow said. That's my elder brother. My real name is Nanjing Qing. We are twins, but we haven't seen each other for a long time. I don't participate in the Nanda sect's affairs, Jiao Qing said with a smile. I see. No wonder you look like someone, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Night Sorrow took out a jar of green blood wine and poured it into a bowl. It smells good, Nanjing Qing said as he took a sniff of the wine bowl. This is good wine brewed by my 6th senior sister. I only have 1 jar, and I'm contributing it now, Night Sorrow said. Then the 3 of them began to drink. After downing a jar of green blood wine, no one was affected. Q-head FC haha, hurry up and enter tier 4. Then we can do missions and drink together. Those guardians and inspectors can't even drink. How boring, Jiao Qing said with a smile. I'll work hard. If there's nothing else, I'll be going back, Night Sorrow nodded. Okay, your sect will definitely ask. Black Eyes is no secret to Medicine Valley, but our identities must be kept secret. This is the rule, Jiao Qing said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow understands. Night Sorrow cupped his hands. Chapter 222. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow left Tianji Tower after saluting Yin Shui and Jiao Qing. Chief Guardian, what do you think of this little guy? Jiao Qing asked as he stood by the window and watched Night Sorrow leave. Very good. He's not inferior to your niece Nan Liyue. His weakness is that he hasn't been cultivating for long, Yin Shui said as she stretched. Chief Guardian, do you think he's comparable to my niece? Jiao Qing asked in surprise. It should be the other way around. Your niece is very talented and is stronger than Night Sorrow now because she has accumulated more in the early stage. However, as people who have been there before, we know that the key is to have enough stamina later on. Night Sorrow has the potential to become a powerhouse. He's not afraid of honor or disgrace. This is his temperament. I've seen many young people, but I've never seen anyone with a stronger temperament than him, Yin Shui said. What I'm thinking now is what kind of cultivation method this guy is cultivating to be able to cultivate himself to the point where his blood and qi are surging. I feel like there's a ferocious beast in his body, Jiao Qing said after thinking for a while. If he doesn't have a special ability, how could he get first place on the Yuan ranking board of Medicine Valley in the middle stage of element gathering? No matter how bad the disciples of Medicine Valley are, they're not sheep, Yin Shui said with a smile. His ability to fight above his level is too strong. Look at the process of his missions. He's always fighting above his level. Even the disciples of Golden Flame sect couldn't fight back. Love go little say net, Chu Jiaoqing nodded. That's why the current cultivation level is nothing. If the cultivation level is low, it can be cultivated. However, not everyone can have the ability to fight above their level, Yin Shui said. Jiaoqing nodded. He knew that he had good taste, but Yin Shui's taste was even sharper. Night Sorrow was very happy when he returned to Yang Lei's mansion. Did you succeed? Yang Lei asked. Yes, it's a success. Night Sorrow took out his Tianji Tower patrol token and showed it to Night Sorrow. Really? You're too fierce. You haven't even reached Tier 3, yet you already have the Tianji Tower's inspector token. Yang Lei said excitedly. Give me some resources as well. Night Sorrow took out some pills and began studying them. After studying for a while, Night Sorrow was very satisfied. Jiao Qing gave all the best spirit congealing pills, which was enough for Night Sorrow to cultivate to the 4th order. That's enough. Not bad indeed. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow enviously. She had worked hard in the past, but she had never met the requirements of Tianji Tower. She hadn't entered the purple circle, and she wasn't willing to be a peripheral member. That's great. You are a direct member of Tianji Tower. The Golden Flame sect won't dare to easily carry out the dragon-slaying plan on you. Yang Lei said excitedly. Didn't you say that the members of Tianji Tower are secrets? Didn't I leak it? Night Sorrow said. That's nothing. The Eastern Profound Domain is very vast. When you officially take office, you won't necessarily take office in the Medicine Valley area. At that time, you have to pay attention to keeping your identity secret, Yang Lei said to Night Sorrow. Well then I understand. Ninth Senior Sister, I plan to go to the Longquan Courtyard and take Silver Fox to the Bamboo Forest Peak, Night Sorrow said. I'll go with you, Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow knew that this was Yang Lei's kindness, so he didn't refuse. The two of them left the mansion. It's not far. Let's sit on my blue condor. Yang Lei released the blue condor and said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and followed Yang Lei to land on the back of the green condor. Then they flew towards the Longquan Courtyard. Senior Sister, the Dragon Spring Courtyard is suitable for cultivation. You should stay in the Dragon Spring Courtyard. Don't stay in that mansion. Your mansion is grand and luxurious, but it has a stifling aura, said Night Sorrow. If you're not in the Dragon Spring Courtyard, there's no point in me going. Yang Lei shook her head. Yang Lei shook her head. Night Sorrow didn't know how to answer Yang Lei's words. He also liked the Dragon Spring Courtyard, but Sikong Chuyu's safety was a problem. Yin Xia and Chuyu had both been to the Dragon Spring Courtyard, so it wasn't very safe. He was reluctant to leave Sikong Chuyu alone in the Bamboo Forest Peak, but he also felt uncomfortable when he saw Yang Lei like this. For some reason, Night Sorrow's heart ached. Senior Sister, are you happy to be the city lord? Night Sorrow asked. Yes, I really don't want to be the city lord. At that time, we were all in the Dragon Spring Courtyard. That was the happiest time. Yang Lei sighed. Didn't Master say that you can leave everything to your subordinates? You don't have to do it yourself. Night Sorrow said. Yang Lei rubbed her forehead and said, Usually I can, but there have been too many things happening recently. The problem with the Golden Flame sect has been solved, but 2 more groups of people have appeared in Danding City. Their cultivation bases are very high, but we still can't figure out where they came from. We don't know where they came from, so we sent people to investigate. They're not from this area. Let's stabilize the situation first. When the situation is stable, we'll go find Master and give up the City Lord position. Night Sorrow didn't want to see Yang Lei unhappy. If the situation is stable, then there's nothing to do as the City Lord. I'll be free. It's because the situation isn't stable that I'm frustrated. Yang Lei put her hand on his shoulder and said. Night Sorrow patted Yang Lei's back, but he didn't know how to comfort her. Don't worry. Your 9th Senior Sister isn't that weak. I can handle this kind of thing. I just don't like it. Yang Lei said with a smile. Soon, the 2 of them arrived at Longquan Courtyard. Night Sorrow came down, and the green condor and the silver fox cub appeared. They directly jumped onto Night Sorrow's shoulder, and seemed to be very affectionate. Make some wine and dishes. I want to drink with 9th Senior Sister. Night Sorrow said to Hai Luo, and Luo Wei made tea for Night Sorrow and Yang Lei. 13. When I think about you being the inspector of Tianji Tower in the future, and having to leave Medicine Valley, I feel uncomfortable. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said, 9th Senior Sister, don't worry. I'll bring 9th Senior Sister with me, wherever I go. How about that? But when that time comes, ninth senior sister won't be able to be the city lord. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Bulsh asterisk T. Do you think I like being the city lord? The city lord is worthless in my eyes. Young Lei glared at Night Sorrow and said. Then I understand. I know. Night Sorrow nodded and said. Square root H Yong P Geoffrey asterisk. Look at the little girl. Yishang knew his own situation. He would have to go out sooner or later. Putting aside the matter of the celestial terminus citadel, Sikong Chuyu's matter required him to go to the Qingtian region. In addition, he had to find his family. Night Sorrow usually didn't talk about looking for his family, but this matter had always been in his heart. Who didn't have parents? Who didn't miss them? Besides, Night Sorrow knew that something must have happened to his family. Otherwise, when Father Gu found him, it wouldn't have been so tragic. What are you thinking about? Don't frown so much at such a young age. Young Lei reached out and knocked on Night Sorrow's head. After the dishes were served, Yishang opened the wine, and the two of them began to drink from their bowls. Night Sorrow was really happy. Joining Tianji Tower was equivalent to opening a door. It would be much more convenient for him to go out in the future. However, Yang Lei wasn't. She was in a bad mood and directly drank too much. Looking at the drunk Yang Lei, Night Sorrow helped her to the room to rest. As soon as they entered the room, Yang Lei vomited all over her skirt. Chapter 223. Geniuses remember love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. After placing Yang Lei on the bed, Night Sorrow reached out and took off Yang Lei's combat boots. After hesitating for a moment, Night Sorrow reached out and unbuckled Yang Lei's belt. Then, he took off Yang Lei's outer skirt and carried Yang Lei, who was wearing only her underwear, to the bed. Then he covered Yang Lei with a blanket. Holding Yang Lei's dirty skirt, Night Sorrow washed it and hung it outside the attic. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow returned to his room to cultivate. He originally planned to leave with Silver Fox, but now that Yang Lei's condition was not good, he could not leave directly. After cultivating for a whole night, Night Sorrow woke up early to cultivate his spear skills. After cultivating for a while, he heard Yang Lei shout, "What's going on? 13, come here." Night Sorrow put away his spear and went to the attic where Yang Lei lived. "Ninth senior sister, why are you still calling for me?" "I asked Hai Luo, and they said that you were the one who sent me back last night. They weren't the ones who took off my clothes." At this moment, Yang Lei was only wearing a pink tight-fitting bra, and her beautiful figure was in full view. "Yes, ninth senior sister. You drank too much last night. I helped you back. You vomited on your body, so I helped you take it off and wash it." Night Sorrow walked over and took down the skirt that was hanging to dry. Then he handed it to Yang Lei. If it was someone else, I would chop off his hand." Yang Lei blushed. She glanced at Night Sorrow and went back to her room. At this time, Night Sorrow also felt that it was inappropriate. However, he did not think so much at that time. He just felt that Yang Lei's skirt was dirty. If he did not change it, she would not be comfortable sleeping. After standing awkwardly for a while, Night Sorrow went to the side to tease the Silver Fox cub while watching Tianyu eat. Little Six knew that Night Sorrow was coming back, so he bought the corpses of demonic beasts early and roasted them to feed Tianyu. First 9 shots after Tianyu finished eating, Night Sorrow planned to leave. He was too embarrassed to see Yang Lei. When Night Sorrow was about to leave, Yang Lei came over. "Are you going back?" "Yes, ninth senior sister. I'm sorry. I didn't think too much." Night Sorrow lowered his head and said, "I'm not blaming you. It's just that when I woke up this morning and saw that my clothes were gone, I got a little anxious. Knowing that it was junior brother, I won't get angry anymore." When Yang Lei woke up in the morning, she found that her clothes were untidy and her chest was exposed. She didn't know that it was caused by her rolling in her sleep, so she was anxious. Baidu search AI go female sign shall say www.aitruaccess.com. Nodding to Yang Lei, Night Sorrow got on Tianyu's back and left. Seeing Night Sorrow leave, Yang Lei's blushing face showed a smile. At this time, Night Sorrow was like a deserter. However, She wasn't sure if Night Sorrow saw anything. Sitting on Tianyu's back, Night Sorrow suddenly remembered what Yang Lei said. She said that there were strangers in Danding City, and they were experts. Thinking of this, Night Sorrow returned to Longquan Courtyard. Why are you back? Can't bear to leave Ninth Senior Sister? Yang Lei asked with a smile. I heard from Ninth Senior Sister that there are some strangers in Danding City, and their cultivation is very high. Could it be related to Chuyu? Night Sorrow said. This was what he was worried about. I thought you couldn't bear to leave Ninth Senior Sister. But it turns out that you're worried about your little lover. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said, I also can't bear to leave Ninth Senior Sister. Night Sorrow said, what you said is very possible, so Sikong Chuyu must not come to Danding City and Longquan Courtyard. Yang Lei nodded seriously. She was joking about some things, but when it came to serious matters, she would never joke. I understand. Night Sorrow nodded. They came a long way to find you. You have to take good care of them. Yang Lei reminded Night Sorrow. I understand. Night Sorrow nodded. You can't leave Medicine Valley now, the alternate space is about to open. Also, you have to participate in the martial arts competition in the Golden Flame sect area. Otherwise, you can go out with Sikong. Yang Lei thought for a while and said. Night Sorrow nodded and didn't say anything. He knew about these things. After saying goodbye to Yang Lei, Night Sorrow rode Tianyu back to Bamboo Forest Peak. You're back, did it go well? Sikong Chuyu was very happy to see Night Sorrow. It went well. Night Sorrow put down the silver fox cub in his arms, and took out the black token given to him by the Empyrean Terminus Tower. Patrol token, not bad, it will be more convenient in the future. You will also have less pressure. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Less pressure? They asked me to continue to work hard, saying that the black token isn't the end. Night Sorrow said with some puzzlement. Could it be? Could it be that Eastern Profound Region started the Celestial Fate Project for you? Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow with some astonishment. Then she became excited, so excited that her face blushed. What's the Celestial Fate Project? Night Sorrow asked puzzledly. Originally, this was a secret, but it doesn't exist between us. The Celestial Fate Project is the core of Tianji Tower's training. Those who can pass the test of the Celestial Fate Project will have a much higher status in Tianji Tower. It should be said that it's terrifyingly high. Core members such as the Chief Enforcer and Branch Leader are all selected by passing the Celestial Fate Project. Chapter 224. Geniuses remember love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Can they? Absolutely. Tianji Tower doesn't have many core members, but they are all powerful people. For example, if you want to attack the Golden Flame sect, Tianjin Tower will send a top-level expert to kill the venerables of the Golden Flame sect. If that happens, will the Golden Flame sect still have a foothold in the Eastern Xian domain? Sikong Chuyu asked with a smile. A genuine sent. Indeed. This is the real way to kill the leader. Night Sorrow nodded. Tianjin Tower didn't need a lot of people. They only needed top-level experts to be a deterrent. Of course, if Tianjin Tower wants to attack the Golden Flame sect, they will send a top-level expert to kill the venerables of the Golden Flame sect. Then they will go to the surrounding top-level sects and ask them if they can attack the Golden Flame sect. If they can't, they will kill their venerables. That will be enough. Who would dare to refuse? Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Chuyu, I want to ask you something. What if two forces both have core members of Tianjin Tower, and there is a conflict between them? Night Sorrow asked. He found that Nanjinqing was in Tianji Tower, so there would be a conflict between the forces with core members of Tianjin Tower. At that time, the attitude of Tianjin Tower would be the key. Sikong Chuyu explained to Yishang. It's very simple. First, it'll be best if it can be adjusted. If it can't, then it'll depend on whose status is higher, and who is more important to the Extreme Heaven Tower. It's that simple. Under normal circumstances, it can be adjusted. If you don't give face to the core of the Extreme Heaven Tower, then your future days won't be too good. Don't you agree? Yishang nodded. He understood Sikong's logic. Night Sorrow then told him what Yang Lei had told him. I expected this. I'm Abba's only weakness. Those uncles won't let me go so easily. That hateful Ji Yu Hao. I didn't expect him to be so despicable, said Sikong Chiyu angrily. It's a pity that I'm too weak. Night Sorrow's eyes dimmed. Sikong Chiyu walked to Night Sorrow's side, held Night Sorrow's hand and said, You're still young. That Ji Yu Hao is already in his 40s, almost 50. How shameless. Sikong Chiyu, who was wearing a pale yellow dress, looked at Night Sorrow with her expressive eyes. Her beautiful hair swayed in the breeze, and even the slightest strand of hair could affect Night Sorrow's heart. Turning around, Night Sorrow looked up at the sky and roared, his voice echoing in the air. You're right. I'm still young. I'll work hard. Night Sorrow turned around and grabbed Sikong Chiyu's shoulders. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao say www.aichuaccess.com. I believe in you. Sikong Chiyu looked at Night Sorrow and smiled. Night Sorrow gently closed his arms and hugged Sikong Chiyu. He didn't say anything because there was no point in saying anything. He had to do it. After a while, the two of them went to the front of the bamboo house to make tea. The two of them looked at each other and drank their tea. They didn't say anything. Everything was conveyed without words. When the sky darkened, Night Sorrow went to cultivate. If he wanted to gain a foothold in Tianji Tower, he needed to have a stage for cultivation level. He hadn't even reached stage 3, so he was a little far away. Upon seeing Night Sorrow go to cultivate, Sikong Chiyu also went to cultivate. After breaking through to the Spirit Severing Stage 8 at the Longquan Courtyard, she had returned to Yunwu Mountain. Before coming out this time, she had completed another breakthrough and entered the Spirit Severing Stage 9. Now she needed to stabilize her cultivation level and straighten out her thoughts in preparation for her future breakthrough. AI Go Xiao Say W. Chu. The next few days were quiet. When Night Sorrow planned to go to Danding Cliff to cultivate again, Hua Yunpeng, Yu Yangyu and Yang Lei came. 13. This is Suchinbai's storage ring. I'll leave the spirit stones inside for you. As for the other cultivation techniques, I'll leave them to the sect. Hua Yunpeng took out a storage ring and handed it to Night Sorrow. Grand Elder, I don't need it. If Grand Elder hadn't appeared in time, I wouldn't have been able to escape from Suchinbai's pursuit, Night Sorrow said. It's only right to protect you. You offended the Golden Flame sect, because you contributed to the sect. Hua Yunpeng didn't wait for Night Sorrow to refute, and threw the storage ring to Night Sorrow. 13. The elders saw that you were good at fist techniques in addition to spear techniques, so they used the materials stored in the Merit Hall to make you a claw glove. Yu Yangyu threw a shiny silver metal claw glove to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow took the claw glove, and felt that it was very heavy in his hand. This claw glove weighed at least 150 kilograms. It was made of pure metal, and could be used to move the fingers and wrists. The front of the 5 fingers were sharp spikes, and the back of the hand had protruding metal ridges, which were suitable for fist techniques. Try it on. It's a masterpiece that the Grand Elder worked on day and night without sleep. Yu Yangyu looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow put his right hand into the claw glove and waved it. The claw glove made a sharp sound as it sliced through the air. The claw glove was very heavy, but it wasn't big and only covered the wrist. Night Sorrow took out his reincarnation spear and demonstrated his spear techniques. He realized that wearing the claw glove didn't affect his spear techniques. It seems to suit you. You won't have a problem with close combat in the future, Hua Yunpeng said. Night Sorrow nodded. The claw glove was indeed very suitable for him. Most importantly, it didn't affect his chasing wind spear technique, which was his favorite part. Yu Yangyu reminded Night Sorrow and Sikong Chiyu. Your 9th senior sister came back and told me something. The people from Danding City should be here for Sikong. You two shouldn't go out during this period of time. Just cultivate steadily. They won't be so bold as to come to our Medicine Valley. 9th senior sister, are you sure? Night Sorrow looked at Yang Lei and asked. I'm sure. During this period of time, they appeared near Enforcer Dong's residence, and even went to the Dragon Spring Courtyard. This proves that they are here for Sikong. There are 2 groups of people, and the leaders are all at the 5th level of cultivation. They are much stronger than me. Yang Lei nodded seriously. Chuyu has brought trouble to everyone. Sikong Chiyu bowed slightly and said, Don't say that. I like you. Since you are 13's friend, then stay here peacefully. I will go to Danding City later to take a look. This is not a place where they can do anything. Hua Yinping said. Thank you, Grand Elder. Knight Sorrow nodded and said, Alright, then you two cultivate. I will leave first. Hua Yinping nodded to Knight Sorrow and Sikong Chiyu and left with Yu Yangyu. Ninth senior sister, is it serious? Knight Sorrow asked. Indeed. These days they have been very rampant. They are just short of saying that they are looking for someone. I even saw Yinxia. Yang Lei said. The situation is complicated. Knight Sorrow understood the current situation. Who cares if it is complicated or not? You two just stay here at Taishan Peak. I don't believe that they will dare to come to Taishan Peak. Yang Lei sat down and said. Then we will listen to ninth senior sister. Sikong Chiyu nodded. Ninth senior sister, you can stay here tonight. Yishang said. Won't I disturb you two? Yang Lei's beautiful eyes looked back and forth between Knight Sorrow and Sikong Chiyu. Ninth senior sister, what are you saying? Sikong Chiyu said embarrassedly. Chapter 225. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. You can squeeze with Chuyu, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. So you're saying that you're giving Sikong to me today? Yang Lei looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. Ninth senior sister, what are you talking about? Sikong Chuyu blushed. Yang Lei's words implied that something had already happened between Sikong Chuyu and Knight Sorrow. It's settled then. 13, you took advantage of me a few days ago. I'm going to earn it back today. Yang Lei said to Knight Sorrow. Dash. D equals original hashtag FS release. Knight Sorrow blushed. What happened a few days ago was a complete accident. At that time, Knight Sorrow didn't think too much about it, but now that he thought about it, it was indeed inappropriate. Seeing that Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu had gone to rest, Knight Sorrow also returned to his room to cultivate. Listening to the two girls laughing and giggling, Knight Sorrow was unable to meditate and cultivate. Fortunately, the two of them were only fooling around for a while, and did not delay Knight Sorrow's cultivation. After daybreak, the three of them ate something together. Then Knight Sorrow left. He was going to Danding Cliff to raise his true chi cultivation to the peak stage of element gathering tier, and then slowly settle down. There were some people who had been in the peak stage of element gathering tier for a very long time. Enlightenment, Shi Yunxiao, Lan Yu, and the others had all settled down for more than a year. Knight Sorrow also wanted to cultivate to the bottleneck earlier, and then settle down to find an opportunity to break through. Love Goblittle, Se, Kuyang Lei, and Sikong Chiyu both supported Knight Sorrow's decision. They also hoped that Knight Sorrow could improve his cultivation as soon as possible. Elder Su was also surprised to see Knight Sorrow, because Knight Sorrow hadn't been here for a while. After greeting Elder Su, Knight Sorrow asked Tianyu to return to the bamboo forest peak. Then he began to climb the cliff. Knight Sorrow didn't have any difficulty reaching the 4,000 m mark. Knight Sorrow then charged towards the 5,000 m mark. Seeing Knight Sorrow climb the cliff, many disciples who came to cultivate paused and watched Knight Sorrow climb the cliff. Knight Sorrow had broken the record when he was in the 6th level of element gathering tier, and now he was already in the 9th level of element gathering tier. Everyone wanted to know whether or not Knight Sorrow would challenge the record he had set. At 4,500 meters, Knight Sorrow felt some pressure, but it was still within his tolerance. Knight Sorrow paused for a moment, took a sip of wine, and continued climbing. Enlightenment, do you think the heavens created such a monster to attack us on purpose? Lan Yu, who was very close to enlightenment, asked. There are new talents in every generation. 13th uncle is the king of this generation. Enlightenment said. If Yi Shang had defeated Shi Yunxiao, then Qi Ming still had the thought of challenging him. But after Yi Shang killed Tai Fei and Zhang Xie, that thought was completely gone. He wasn't a match for either of them, let alone killing them consecutively. Indeed, he killed 6 people consecutively that day in the arena. We couldn't compete with any of them. Will he continue to challenge the height of Danding Cliff? Lan Yu was convinced. I don't think so. 13th uncle doesn't care about other people's opinions. He only asks his own heart. If he doesn't think it's necessary, he won't do it, Enlightenment said. He's not a high-profile person. You don't know, but now my martial Aunt Lin is in a dilemma because of him. Although no one said anything about her, she has been feeling guilty, Lan Yu said. That can't be helped. 13th uncle seems to have someone in his heart. Remember the last woman that appeared that day? Martial Aunt Lin Jingyi said she was at the peak of the 4th step. She seems to be a beauty. Enlightenment said with a smile. That's why 13th uncle rejected all the arrangements of Crepe Myrtle. This also hurt Martial Aunt Lin's self-esteem, Lan Yu said. Lan Yu said. She understood that because Yi Shang had refused, Lin Jingyi felt embarrassed and attacked Yi Shang. Let's not talk about it. Look at how fierce this guy is. We can't even reach 4,300 meters, but he's already at 4,700 meters. He's still not stopping. Enlightenment said as he looked at Night Sorrow, who was rushing towards the 5,000-meter platform. At this time, Night Sorrow had already reached the 4,800-meter platform. After drinking 2 mouthfuls of wine, he took a breath and recovered a little. Night Sorrow continued to rush towards the 5,000-meter platform. Climbing to 4,800 meters didn't consume much energy for Night Sorrow. He climbed to the 5,000-meter platform in a spurt of energy. Night Sorrow didn't stop after reaching the 5,000-meter platform. Instead, he moved forward another 10 meters and found a platform to meditate. The 5,000-meter platform didn't have any pressure. It wasn't suitable for refining Zhen Qi and the energy in the body. I have nothing to say. Enlightenment shook his head and sat down to cultivate. Lan Yu was the same. She saw that Night Sorrow didn't have any pressure when he reached the 5,000-meter platform. It was very easy. In other words, 5,000-meter wasn't Night Sorrow's limit. Enlightenment and Lan Yu weren't the only ones who had this idea. Everyone who saw Night Sorrow climbing the cliff had this idea. Looking at Night Sorrow sitting cross-legged and cultivating, Elder Su nodded silently. His feelings for Night Sorrow were complicated. Night Sorrow had found the Holy Cauldron scripture, which allowed him to break through and extend his life. This was gratitude and pride. He was proud that the Medicine Valley had such a disciple. The elders of the Medicine Valley had a meeting to discuss it. They planned to cultivate Gong Xian and Night Sorrow as the successors of the Valley Master. However, Yu Yangyu refused. Gong Xian was now the peak master. In the future, his achievements depended on himself. Night Sorrow wasn't interested in this because he didn't want to go to Danding Peak. He just wanted to stay at Taishan Peak and cultivate. This kind of attitude made the elders of the Medicine Valley hate and love. They hated his lack of ambition and loved his indifference to fame and fortune. Night Sorrow was recovering while refining his own cultivation. After recovering his energy, Night Sorrow stood up and used the Zhen Yu hand to consume his Zhen Qi and energy. Then he continued to cultivate. This disappointed those who wanted to see Night Sorrow continue to challenge. Night Sorrow had no intention of continuing to climb. Night Sorrow cultivated at this position for 4 days. As long as his Zhen Qi and energy in his body recovered, he would get up and cultivate his battle skills. Sometimes he would cultivate his spear arts and movement skills. Other times he would face the pressure from Danding Cliff and cultivate the killing fist. After consuming his Zhen Qi and energy from the myriad Tao Tome, he would continue to cultivate. The high intensity of cultivation allowed Night Sorrow's cultivation to increase very quickly. Especially with the myriad Tao Tome, the muscle-strengthening energy in his body increased exponentially. Batch after batch of disciples came to Danding Cliff to cultivate. Only Night Sorrow, who was 5,000 meters above Danding Cliff, didn't move. Feeling the pressure lessen, Night Sorrow continued to climb. When he reached the platform at 5,100 meters, he continued to cultivate. Night Sorrow cultivated for half a month. He only stopped when his Zhen Qi couldn't increase anymore. The myriad Tao Tome's cultivation was also not far from the peak of muscle strengthening level 7. Night Sorrow's cultivation speed was fast because the effects of cultivating at Danding Cliff were too strong. It was second only to the Yuan gathering array. Otherwise, the disciples of the Medicine Valley wouldn't care so much about merit points. Night Sorrow broke the record, which meant that he had the privilege of increasing his cultivation without limit. Chapter 226. Genius 1 Second. Remember Love Go divided by Xiao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Since Tianyu was not there, Night Sorrow was strolling slowly on the mountain road, feeling the true qi in his dantian. He wanted to ask Sikong Chiyu about the difference in difficulty between advancing from qi refining to essence gathering, and from essence gathering to core condensation. He felt that he could make a breakthrough at any time. It was not as scary as Yang Lei and the others said. Love Go divided by Xiao W. AI2X. Xiong. When he returned to Bamboo Forest Peak, Sikong Chiyu was washing clothes by the stream. Her hair was a little wet, which proved that she had just taken a bath. Chiyu, I'm back. Night Sorrow shouted when he saw Sikong Chiyu. Sikong Chiyu turned around and looked at Night Sorrow with a smile. Looking at Sikong Chiyu standing by the stream in the breeze, Night Sorrow was a little dazed. Her graceful figure and her proud face with a smile were so warm. Love Go Xiao Say W. Chu. Walking over, Night Sorrow stretched out his arms and hugged Sikong Chiyu. Sikong Chiyu did not resist. Her body gently pressed against Night Sorrow's chest, and the two stood quietly. After a while, the two separated. Sikong Chiyu hung up the washed clothes and then boiled water to make tea. At this time, Tianyu and Silver Fox also came back. Silver Fox was lying on Tianyu's back, looking very obedient. Seeing Night Sorrow, Tianyu glided to Night Sorrow's side, and rubbed his head against Night Sorrow's side. Silver Fox also jumped onto Night Sorrow's shoulder. Come down quickly. You can't do this in the future, Night Sorrow said with a smile as he carried Silver Fox down. The two of them have been playing very well recently. Tianyu not only takes Silver Fox with him when he's hunting, but also takes him out to fly when he's free, Sikong Chiyu said with a smile. I've been busy cultivating these days, so I didn't accompany them or you, Night Sorrow said. I'm not a child. It's good to cultivate quietly here. You've reached the bottleneck of the energy gathering realm, so you should also cultivate well. Love Go Xiao Say W. Quinn Edition. 9th senior sister came the day before yesterday. The leaders of the two groups went to visit her when Grand Elder Hua was there. They made it clear that they didn't mean to offend Medicine Valley. They just came to look for someone. One of them is my sixth uncle, Sikong Tianhua, and the other is Ji Yuming from Jiyu's family, Sikong Chiyu said. Since they said that they didn't mean to offend Medicine Valley, then they shouldn't reach out to Taishian Peak. Night Sorrow felt a little relieved. It's safe for now. After all, I didn't contact anyone this time, nor did I use Tianji Tower's channels. They have spies in Tianji Tower, so they can't find anything, Sikong Chiyu said. That's good. I'm relieved, Night Sorrow said. This was what he was most worried about. Sikong Chiyu said to Night Sorrow. There's one more thing. They've investigated you and looked into your background. Maybe Chiyu leaked our relationship, so they've turned their attention to you. They want to dig out some information from you. Most / a new chapter. Upper 9Q. Hearing this news, Night Sorrow was a little shocked. If that was the case, then there might be trouble. Sikong Chiyu conveyed Yang Lei's message. 9th senior sister wants you to walk around Danding City. That way, if they see you but not me, they won't stay in Danding City. Alright, I'll accompany you today. Tomorrow we'll go to Danding City, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Sitting in front of the bamboo house with Sikong Chiyu, Yishuan watched the moon rise and enjoyed the gentle breeze. Night Sorrow asked, Chiyu, a lot of people are stuck at the Dan formation stage. Is this stage really that difficult? Sikong Chiyu said to Night Sorrow. If it's difficult, then it's as difficult as climbing the heavens. Many people can't pass this stage, because their chi isn't condensed enough. If you say it's easy, then it's very easy. As long as your chi is condensed enough, then you can naturally form a Dan. The difficulty of advancing depends on your chi's condensed level. The same liquid chi has different levels of condensed chi. Night Sorrow nodded. He was confident in his chi's condensed level. Although his cultivation speed was fast, His chi had been tempered by the energy of Danding Cliff. It was not weak at all. What are you thinking about? Try to break through when you're confident. Don't rush to break through. It'll be troublesome if you enter the false Dan stage. It's a very long process, and it'll delay your growth. Sikong Chiyu was a little worried about Night Sorrow. He was afraid that Night Sorrow would advance too quickly. I understand, Night Sorrow said while holding Sikong Chiyu's hand. You only know how to take advantage of me. Sikong Chiyu blushed under the moonlight. That night, Night Sorrow did not cultivate. He really slept. Of course he slept by himself. After dawn, Night Sorrow washed up. Sikong Chiyu helped Night Sorrow tie up his hair. Night Sorrow usually used a thin string to tie up his hair. Just as Night Sorrow was about to leave for Danding City, Gongxian, Oi, and Yang Lei came over. The three of them did not look good. Ninth senior sister, I was planning to go to Danding City to find you. Why did you come over? Night Sorrow greeted. They left, those bastards. Yang Lei cursed. What happened? Night Sorrow had a bad feeling. They found out that you were from Zhuyuan Town in Tiannan City, so they went to Zhuyuan Town. The villagers there did not reveal any information about you and Sikong. They set fire to Zhuyuan Town and injured Father Gu. Yang Lei's voice was filled with killing intent. Hearing that Father Gu was injured, Night Sorrow's eyes flashed coldly. Who did it? I'm not sure. Chapter 227. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Small? We provide you with exciting novels to read. When he arrived at Zhuyuan Town, Night Sorrow realized that he couldn't recognize the place after not seeing it for a while. There were broken bricks and tiles everywhere, and some places were even emitting black smoke. However, many people were cleaning up. Night Sorrow recognized them as the city guards of South Sky City. The villagers of Zhuyuan Town were also cleaning up. Everyone was very calm. Other than the sound of footsteps, there was no other sound in the town. After taking a deep breath, Night Sorrow directly rushed to Papa Gu's bamboo house. When he arrived at the courtyard, Night Sorrow growled angrily. The bamboo house was burned and turned into ruins. Papa Gu was lying in a temporary shack. Uncle Nyo, Auntie Lin, and the rest were in front of the shack. Auntie Lin was holding a bowl of medicine. Night Sorrow slowly walked to the bed in the shack. Dad, I'm back. Night Sorrow, who reached out to pull Papa Gu, was suddenly stunned. Papa Gu's left shoulder was bare. One of his arms was gone. Dad, tell me who did this? Who did this? Night Sorrow asked with clenched fists. You're back. It's good that you're back. Papa Gu coughed twice, and a trace of blood appeared at the corner of his mouth. Dad has internal injuries. Let me take a look. You go outside and wait. Aoi came into the shack and stood beside Night Sorrow. Yang Lei came in and pulled Night Sorrow out. 13. Calm down. Papa Gu will be fine with 6 senior sisters' help. Yang Lei said as she pulled Night Sorrow, whose breathing was a little unstable. Night Sorrow, don't worry. Papa Gu will be fine. Uncle Nyo also came over. His arm was also wrapped in thick gauze. Uncle, are you okay? Although Night Sorrow's eyes were red, he hadn't lost his mind. I'm fine. It's just that Papa Gu's situation is a little worse. The town guards were also injured, Uncle Nyo said. Uncle Nyo then explained the situation to Night Sorrow. A few days ago, a group of people came to Bamboo Garden Town. They asked this and that in an arrogant and commanding manner. The town's guards came to stop them but were directly injured. In the end, they captured Father Gu and asked about Night Sorrow's recent situation, and who Night Sorrow was with. Father Gu naturally didn't reply. In the end, one of his arms was broken and he was beaten up. Then this group of people set fire to Bamboo Garden Town. Do you know who they are? Night Sorrow asked. Yes, the leader said. I, Ji Yufeng, have seen a lot of tough people. Let's see how tough your bones are. Then he chopped off Old Man Gu's arm. Uncle Nyo said. Ji Yufeng, I'll remember that. Uncle Nyo, Papa Gu isn't free right now. Take this money and rebuild the town. Night Sorrow took out a stack of gold notes and said. There's no need for that. The people from South Sky City are here. They said that it was their fault for not protecting Bamboo Garden Town well. Therefore, South Sky City will bear all the losses of Bamboo Garden Town. Uncle Nyo said. What the F***ck have they done? Night Sorrow roared. You can't blame them completely. Jiyu family came too suddenly. Besides, the people from South Sky City couldn't stop them. It's my fault for being careless, Yanglei said. It's all my fault, Sikong Chiyu, who had been standing beside Night Sorrow, said while wiping his tears. Sikong, it's not your fault. Jiyu family is too overbearing and despicable. How could they attack ordinary people? Yanglei said with hatred. At that moment, Aoi came out and said, I helped Papa Gu evacuate his stagnated blood and gave him some healing pills. His internal injuries are all healed now. Only his external injuries are left. His severed arm has already been buried. Also, I don't have that kind of elixir that can reconnect a severed limb. Qingji said. Thank you, Sixth Sister, Night Sorrow said. Then the deputy mayor of South Sky City came to apologize. After all, this was their territory. It was their fault that something like this happened. Iyong *Qjo ate for free. Do your best to deal with the aftermath. It can only be better than before, not worse. The villagers' losses must be compensated in full. Moreover, it must be done quickly. Yang Lei took out the elder's order and showed it to the vice city lord from South Sky City. Yes, elder. Today, all the craftsmen from South Sky City will come to rebuild this place. The deputy mayor bowed and left. Night Sorrow returned to the shack. In the shack, Father Gu had already fallen asleep. Yi Shang reached out to cover him with the blanket. Seeing the charred wooden horse beside Papa Gu's bed, Night Sorrow picked it up. He was afraid that Papa Gu would have trouble turning over. Don't move. Uncle Nyo wanted to take it away yesterday, but Papa Gu refused. He snatched it back from the fire with one hand. Auntie Lin said. Night Sorrow's tears fell. His heart was filled with mixed feelings. He put down the wooden horse with trembling hands and turned to leave the shack. His heart was stifled, so he could only go outside to get some fresh air. The craftsmen from South Sky City arrived at noon. Everyone brought some daily necessities. After they arrived, they distributed the daily necessities to the townspeople and began to repair the houses in the town. The first thing they dealt with was Papa Gu's house. Yang Lei made the decision and asked Uncle Nyo to do his best to restore the house to its former state. Night Sorrow, it's my fault for bringing such a disaster to Papa Gu. Standing in front of the yard, Sikong Chiyu said with some self-blame. It's not your fault. It's fate. As long as you guys are fine, I'm happy. These old bones of mine won't die. Papa Gu walked out with one hand on his walking stick. Dad, I'm sorry. Sikong Chiyu turned around and looked at the one-armed Papa Gu. Tears fell like rain. Child, don't be like this. Papa Gu put down his walking stick and patted Sikong Chiyu's shoulder. I'll make Jiyu's family pay back 100-fold. Night Sorrow said with a murderous tone. It's all in the past. Girl, don't cry. Go and make us a pot of tea, Papa Gu said. He wanted to change the current atmosphere. Papa Gu, how do you feel? Aoi asked. I feel much better. I'm really sorry for making you guys come here again. Papa Gu looked at Aoi and Yang Lei and said, Papa Gu, please don't say that. You're 13th's relative and also ours. This time, Medicine Valley didn't protect Zhiyuan Town well enough. That's why Zhiyuan Town suffered such a disaster, Yang Lei said. If it was in the past, it wouldn't have been good to lose an arm. At that time, Night Sorrow was still young. Now that Night Sorrow has grown up, I don't need to do anything, Papa Gu said with a smile. Dad, come with me this time. Night Sorrow planned to bring Papa Gu to Longquan Courtyard. There were servants there, and the environment was good. Chapter 228. Genius remembers love in 1 second / small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow nodded and turned to look at the bamboo hut that the craftsman had repaired. The bamboo house was more or less the same as before. In fact, it was newly built. How could a burnt-down bamboo house be repaired? The courtyard had also been cleaned up, and the walls had been rebuilt with green bricks and red tiles. Night Sorrow, bring my things back. The bamboo house is more comfortable, said Old Man Gu when he saw that the bamboo house was ready. Night Sorrow nodded and went to tear down the shack that Father Gu was temporarily staying in. Then he placed the bedding and other things sent over from South Sky City into Shinju House. When he came out, Night Sorrow saw Father Gu carrying the wooden horse with one hand and placing it back in its original position. Dad, I'm all grown up. I don't need these anymore. Night Sorrow said as he helped Old Man Gu up. I know you don't need it. When you're not around, looking at the wooden horse makes me feel like I can see you playing on it when you were young. I can feel you by my side. Papa Gu said with a smile. Dad, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have stubbornly insisted on going out. Night Sorrow felt a lump in his throat. Child, what nonsense are you saying? You are destined to belong to the outside world. No one blames you for this matter, because everything in Bamboo Garden Town changed because of you. Love Gom Little Say Cold Man Gu said. Night Sorrow, do you know? If Bamboo Garden Town doesn't change, then we'll have to rely on hunting for a living. You also know that people from Bamboo Garden Village often die in the mouths of beasts, and there are also frequent attacks from demonic beasts. Everyone is very satisfied with our current life, Uncle Nyo said. Old Nyo, let's not talk about other things. Bring the wine. Old Man Gu said to Uncle Nyo. No, absolutely not. Father Gu, your injuries aren't light and you need to rest for a while. You can't drink during this period. Aoi hurriedly stopped him. No, what should I do if I can't drink it? Mr. Gu was a little depressed when he heard Aoi say that she couldn't drink it. Dad, just bear with it for a few days. It really isn't a good time to drink now, Night Sorrow said. For the next few days, Night Sorrow and the others stayed in Bamboo Garden Village. Yang Lei planned to chase after him, but she gave up because it was impossible for her to catch up with him. 6th Senior Sister, is there really no way to solve my Father Gu's condition? Yi Shang stood in the middle of the town and looked at the restored Bamboo Garden Town. He was asking about the shattered Dantian. Baidu search, AI go female sign shall say, www.aichoaccess.com. It's very difficult. There's only one medicine that can do it. It's called the Energy Recovery Pill. In the history of our Medicine Valley, we've refined it once, but it's long gone. The main ingredient of the Energy Recovery Pill is the inner core of the Energy Recovery Beast. I've never heard of any Energy Recovery Beast. The Energy Recovery Beast is a rank 5 monster, and it's extremely fast. It's very difficult to kill it unless you're a supremacy, but which supremacy would hunt it? Aoi said with a bitter smile. If this continues, I'm worried that Father Gu won't have much lifespan left. Night Sorrow's eyes were a little dim. Tomorrow, I'll refine some energy recovery pills that can improve an ordinary person's physique. It's possible to extend their lifespan, Aoi said. 13. Father Gu just wants to live a normal life. You don't have to think too much, Yang Lei said. I understand. I just want to be filial. Night Sorrow nodded. / only 4 ZD official J version. The other %D all W. Yes. Steel I version P. Night Sorrow and the rest stayed for 7 days. Father Gu began to chase them away. He didn't want Night Sorrow to waste time in Bamboo Garden Town. Moreover, Bamboo Garden Town had returned to normal and was currently being expanded. South Sky City had also sent more guards. Father, are you really not going to leave with me? Night Sorrow tried to persuade Father Gu. I was born here, so I'll stay here when I'm old. Don't worry and cultivate. Be careful in everything you do. Father Gu reminded Night Sorrow. I will. Night Sorrow sighed. He understood Father Gu and knew that once Father Gu decided on something, it was hard to change his mind. Father Gu, take 1 energy recovery pill every 3 days. Aoi, who had released the green condor, reminded Father Gu. Don't worry. I'll remember. I'll have to trouble you guys to take care of Night Sorrow, Father Gu said with a smile. Aoi, Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and Night Sorrow bowed to Father Gu before getting on the back of the flying beast and leaving. Standing on Tianyu's back and looking at Father Gu, who was waving goodbye with his only arm, Night Sorrow's tears fell. That figure was much older than he remembered. Knowing that Night Sorrow was sad, Aoi and the rest didn't say anything. Yang Lei threw a jar of wine to Night Sorrow. After drinking a jar of wine, Yishang's mood finally stabilized. He understood that Father Gu needed this kind of life. He had old neighbors and old companions. Even if he really went to the Longquan courtyard, he wouldn't necessarily be happy. They didn't go to Longquan courtyard. Instead, they went directly to Taixian Peak. 13. How's it going? Gong Xian asked when he saw the group. Without needing Night Sorrow to say anything, Yang Lei told him about the situation. Send someone to investigate. If this group of people is still in the Medicine Valley area, chase after them and kill them at all costs, Gong Xian instructed Shi Tianlin, who was beside him. Let's put this matter aside for now. We'll deal with it ourselves when the time comes. Night Sorrow stopped Shi Tianlin. Chapter 229. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow made the decision to break through to the core condensation stage. Since he could no longer increase the condensation of his true qi, it would be a waste of time to continue cultivating. It was meaningless. At this time, the sky was dark, and no one would continue to climb the cliff. There was no one else on Danding Cliff who could be like him, who could cultivate on Danding Cliff indefinitely. Night Sorrow took out the wine jar and drank 2 mouthfuls. When he wanted to drink more, he remembered Sikong Chuyu's words and put away the wine jar. He came to the platform 5,000 meters high and felt the night breeze, stabilizing his mood. After a while, Night Sorrow sat down cross-legged and began to circulate his true qi, stabilizing it and preparing to enter the core condensation stage. If others knew that Night Sorrow had broken through to the peak of element gathering stage in less than half a month, they would definitely think that Night Sorrow was greedy for merit. However, Night Sorrow knew that he could no longer increase the condensation of his true qi. After stabilizing his cultivation for half an hour, Night Sorrow began to compress the liquid true qi in his dantian. When qi refining stage entered element gathering stage, it was necessary to compress the gaseous true qi into a liquid state. When element gathering stage entered core condensation stage, it was necessary to condense the liquid true qi into a solid state, which was to condense it into a dan bead. Night Sorrow controlled the liquid true qi to compress toward the center of his dantian. Only when it was compressed to the extreme would there be a qualitative change. Love go little say W. Chew this was very difficult. The quality of the liquid true qi was already very high. It was not easy to improve it further. Time slipped away little by little. The volume of the true qi in Night Sorrow's dantian became smaller and smaller. It had already become a gelatinous state. 2 hours, 4 hours. Night Sorrow kept compressing his true qi, controlling the true qi in his dantian to rotate quickly. He kept compressing the liquid true qi in his dantian toward the center of his dantian, where the gelatinous true qi was located. This state was the state of a fake pill. Many people were stuck here because their true qi was not condensed enough to form a real pill. In the later stages, they had to constantly polish and condense their true qi to solidify. This was a time-consuming and laborious process. Of course, Night Sorrow knew what the current situation was. He didn't dare to be careless and tried his best to invade the gelatinous true qi. The gelatinous true qi became more and more solid, and the true qi in Night Sorrow's dantian became less and less. 6 hours, 8 hours, time passed very quickly, and the true qi in Night Sorrow's dantian slowly disappeared. All of it entered the gelatinous true qi in the core of his dantian. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.ai2xs. Now. It could be said that it was no longer gelatinous true qi. It had already taken the embryonic form of a dan bead, which was the size of a pigeon egg. Night Sorrow wanted to compress all the irregular gelatinous true qi around the dan bead into the dan bead. The sky was already bright, and Night Sorrow was also at the final moment of breakthrough. With a low roar in Night Sorrow's heart, the last bit of gelatinous true qi was squeezed into the dan bead by Night Sorrow. When the last bit of gelatinous true qi disappeared, and was all compressed into the dan bead in Night Sorrow's dantian shook, and then began to operate. Then, It released a trace of mist towards Night Sorrow's Dantian, which was the true qi released by the Dan bead. Baidu search, AI go female sign shall say www.aichuxs. COM the Dan bead began to rotate, and Night Sorrow's aura also changed. At this time he was no longer a Yuan gathering stage cultivator, but a third-order core condensation stage cultivator. After opening his eyes, Night Sorrow got up and began to cultivate on the platform at a height of 5,100 meters. While stabilizing his core condensation stage cultivation, he also increased his myriad Tao Tome cultivation to the peak of 7th level muscle strengthening stage. After cultivating for 2 more days, Night Sorrow completely stabilized his core condensation stage cultivation. And after cultivating the myriad Tao Tome to the peak of 7th level muscle strengthening stage, he stood up. After standing up, Night Sorrow saw Tianyu flying outside the Danding cliff with the silver fox cub on his back, and then he let out a long howl. Tianyu came here once a day. When he heard Night Sorrow's howl, Tianyu flew to the periphery of Night Sorrow's location. Night Sorrow jumped up and directly landed on Tianyu's back. Then he controlled Tianyu to descend. Although he didn't need to register and didn't need to spend merit points, he still needed to greet Elder Su when he came or left. This was a courtesy. At the bottom of the Danding cliff, Night Sorrow jumped off Tianyu and bowed to Elder Su. Elder Su, disciple has to go back first. Core condensation stage. How long have you been in the peak of Yuan gathering stage? You dare to break through to the core condensation stage, child. You are too reckless. Fortunately, you succeeded, otherwise the consequences would be serious. Seeing Night Sorrow's cultivation, Elder Su was shocked at first, then he was scared. If Night Sorrow failed to break through and entered the pseudo-core stage, it would take several years to cross this gap, and even the most outstanding genius would be buried. Fortunately, Night Sorrow succeeded. Elder Su, don't worry, I'm sure. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Child, you are too crazy, you can't be like this in the future. Hurry up and see the Valley Master. The Valley Master will also scold you. Elder Su said with a smile. After the fear, he was happy. Night Sorrow was young, and his cultivation time was short, but he was strong in fighting. After crossing this step, it would be another period of rapid improvement. Elder Su, take this wine. Leaving a jar of wine for Elder Su, Night Sorrow rode Tianyu and left. Night Sorrow didn't go to the Danding Peak. He didn't want to disturb Yu Yangyu because of this. In Night Sorrow's heart, this was a breakthrough. He didn't realize how difficult it was to go from the Yuan gathering stage to the core condensation stage. Night Sorrow didn't go to the Taishan Temple, and directly returned to the Bamboo Forest Peak. After getting off Tianyu, Night Sorrow saw Sikong Chiyu meditating on a futon in front of the bamboo house. Feeling Night Sorrow's aura, Sikong Chiyu opened his eyes and stood up. Core condensation stage? You went to breakthrough. Didn't you say you were going to cultivate? I was cultivating, and I felt like I was about to break through. Night Sorrow said as he sat down. That was a bit rash. You should know that this is a very important transformation for a cultivator. Once you fail, you will have to spend a lot of energy to make up for it. In many powers, no matter how good a member is, once they enter the fake core stage, they will be abandoned and won't be focused on. Sikong Chiyu said. I feel that the time is right. I won't joke about my cultivation. Night Sorrow said. I know you are under a lot of pressure, but you have to promise me that you will not be so impulsive in the future. You will discuss things with me more. Also, I want to congratulate you for crossing a big hurdle. Sikong Chiyu looked at Night Sorrow's messy hair, and suddenly felt sorry for him. I will, let's make a pot of tea. Night Sorrow said with a smile. To be able to see Sikong Chiyu's smile, training hard was nothing to him. Nhead XGV? Okay, we will make some dishes later, and drink to celebrate later. Sikong Chiyu said with a smile. Chapter 230. Genius remembers love in 1 second / small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Hearing that Night Sorrow had entered the core condensation stage, Enlightenment and the others stopped cultivating at Danding Cliff, and went straight to Taishan Peak to drink with Night Sorrow. This was a big deal. Senior Sister Lan Yu, You've finally made it. Senior brother Yin Xiao has entered the core condensation stage. Martial uncle Yi has also entered the core condensation stage. If he didn't enter the core condensation stage, I don't know how long he would suppress us. Feng Yan said with a smile. If Night Sorrow succeeded, Lan Yu would be first on the list. Haha. It hasn't been easy for me. I must have a good drink today. Lan Yu said excitedly. I don't know what you're so excited about. Don't you feel that the gap between you and Martial Uncle Yi is getting bigger? Enlightenment looked at them with a smile and poured cold water on them. Martial Uncle Yi is too much of a beast. After entering the core condensation stage, the road ahead is smooth. It doesn't matter if the gap is big. I won't compete with him, I'll compete with you. Shi Yinhai was quite optimistic. Yes, it's time for those guys on the pill list to have a headache. It won't be long before the pill list becomes a mess. Martial Uncle Yi has broken through, we must celebrate. Feng Yan was also quite excited. When they passed by the Taixian Hall, they met Aoi, who came out of the Taixian Hall. Stop! You bastards, why aren't you cultivating? What are you doing at Taixian Peak? Aoi stopped them. They were heading towards the bamboo forest peak. Aoi knew that it wasn't convenient for Sikong Chuyu to show up. Martial Uncle Aoi, we're here to celebrate Martial Uncle Yi. Feng Yan bowed to Aoi and said, What's there to celebrate? Your Martial Uncle Yi is in a bad mood recently. He's very angry. Aoi glared at Feng Yan. Entering the core condensation stage isn't such a good thing worth celebrating. Shi Yinhai whispered. He felt that the people of Taixian Peak were too abnormal. What? What do you mean by entering the core condensation stage? Aoi didn't hear clearly, so she asked back. Martial Uncle Yi has entered the core condensation stage. Doesn't Martial Uncle Aoi know? Lan Yu asked. 13 entered the core condensation stage? That's impossible. He only reached the peak of element gathering stage a few days ago. Who told you this? Aoi shook her head. She, Night Sorrow, and the others had just returned from Zhiyuan town a few days ago. She understood Night Sorrow's situation. She originally planned to tell Night Sorrow that she was accompanying the Sikong Chiyu, and let Night Sorrow go to the Longquan courtyard to consolidate his cultivation. What's going on? Gong Xian and Hua Nen also came out of the main hall. Those bastards came to drink with 13, and they even came up with the reason that 13 entered the core condensation stage to celebrate. Aoi said. Martial Uncle Aoi, we didn't say that. It was Elder Su of Danding Cliff who said that Martial Uncle Yi was in the core condensation stage when he left this morning. Feng Yan said with a depressed face. Oh, is it true? Let's go and see. Aoi heard that it was Elder Su who said it, so she knew that it might be true. Riding the Green Eagle, Aoi and Gong Xian arrived at the bamboo forest peak. When they arrived, they saw Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu eating. He really entered the core condensation stage. Gong Xian looked at Night Sorrow from head to toe. You bastard, you really dare to mess around. Aoi went up and slapped Night Sorrow on the shoulder. 6th Senior Sister. Why are you all scolding me? I've been cultivating for a few days, and I found that my chi didn't change at all. There's no point in continuing to condense it. Isn't it a waste of time if I don't break through? Night Sorrow was a little confused. Sikong, when the Enlightenment people come, you should hide. Safety is the most important. Aoi ignored Night Sorrow's explanation and turned to Sikong Chuyu and said, Okay, then I'll go out for a walk. Sikong Chuyu stretched out his hand to summon the silver fox cub, and left the bamboo garden peak. 13. Does Master know about your breakthrough? Gong Xian sat down and asked. No, it's not a big matter, so I won't disturb Master. Night Sorrow said. It's not a big matter? It's a big matter, you know. When us brothers and sisters enter the core condensation stage, Master is always by our side. This transformation directly affects our future achievements. Fortunately, you made it through. Gong Xian looked at Night Sorrow and shook his head helplessly. Then, the Enlightenment people came over and greeted Gong Xian and Aoi. Martial Aunt Aoi, look, Martial Aunt Night Sorrow really entered the core condensation stage. We didn't lie. After greeting them, Feng Yan said, Okay, you guys chat. 13. Remember to visit Master when you have time. Gongxian said to Night Sorrow and left with Aoi. Eldest senior brother, 13 is too reckless. How long has it been since he entered the peak of the essence gathering stage? He dares to break through to the core condensation stage. Aoi was a little scared. Look at the original version, Chapter A, Section 013 isn't a reckless person. His cultivation path is different from ordinary people. Well, this is something to be happy about, Gongxian said with a smile. Enlightenment and the others drank for a while before leaving. Although they didn't say anything, Night Sorrow's breakthrough gave them a lot of pressure. Only after they left did Sikong Chuyu return. Sikong, I've wronged you. Night Sorrow said apologetically. How could you say that? I'm not wronged at all. Sikong Chuyu smiled. After tidying up, Sikong Chuyu didn't let Night Sorrow accompany him to chat. Instead, he let Night Sorrow stabilize his cultivation. After returning to his room, Night Sorrow thought for a moment, and then went to break through the Myriad Tao scripture. He wanted to raise the Myriad Tao scripture's cultivation to the 8th level of the muscle-strengthening realm. To reach the 8th level of the muscle-strengthening realm, he needed to strengthen his chest and abdomen tendons. This level wasn't very difficult. All he needed to do was accumulate enough energy. Once he had enough energy, he could strengthen his tendons and abdomen. After 4 hours, Night Sorrow finished strengthening his chest and abdomen tendons, and entered the 8th level of the Myriad Tao scripture. Night Sorrow was now confident that if he were to face Lin Jingyi's kick again, he wouldn't end up in such a sorry state. Feeling refreshed, Night Sorrow went to take a bath. The Myriad Tao scripture's advancement was too painful. It was so painful that he was covered in sweat. After taking a bath, Night Sorrow sat in the courtyard for a while. While Night Sorrow was sitting, Sikong Chuyu also came out. She had heard the commotion outside. Night Sorrow, why did you get up? Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow. I went to take a bath. It's cold at night, so why did you come out? Night Sorrow put his outer robe on Sikong Chuyu. Night Sorrow, our path is our own. As long as we're happy, it's fine. I don't want you to feel too much pressure, said Sikong Chuyu as she leaned on Night Sorrow's shoulder. Chuyu, being with you makes me feel at ease and fulfilled. I don't care how strong Jiyu's family is. I'll go find them. Not only for you, but also for father's right arm, said Night Sorrow. That's right. I have something to ask you. That day, 9th senior apprentice sister said you took advantage of her. She told me everything. Sikong Chuyu changed the topic. Chapter 231. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. 9th senior sister doesn't mind. Sikong Chuyu said in a low voice. Night Sorrow didn't know what to say and didn't continue to explain. Some things can't be explained clearly. The two sat for a while, and then went back to cultivate. After the night passed, Yishan woke up early to practice his movement, spear art, and fist art. Night Sorrow's Zhenqi entered the core condensation stage, and his Myriad Tao tome reached the 8th level of the muscle-strengthening stage. His movement and battle skills needed to adapt to his new cultivation. He cultivated for the whole morning. Night Sorrow's spear, movement, and fist arts were also integrated with his cultivation. Night Sorrow, you should go to Tianji Tower, and let the Tianjin Tower know about your recent situation. You entered the core condensation stage so quickly, and filled your body with blood qi. These are all your strengths. If you show your strengths, it will be beneficial for the Tianjin Tower's assessment. Sikong Chuyu said to Night Sorrow. That's good. I'll be back soon. Night Sorrow nodded. He felt that Sikong Chuyu's words were reasonable. This was indeed his strength. Riding on Tianyu, Night Sorrow left. Standing on an ancient tree on Taixian Peak, Hua Yinpeng watched Night Sorrow leave, and didn't continue to follow. He already knew that Night Sorrow entered the Tianjin Tower, so he felt that the Golden Flame sect wouldn't dare to hunt down Night Sorrow. After all, the Golden Flame sect was nothing in front of the Tianjin Tower. Riding on Tianyu, Night Sorrow directly went to Yang Lei's mansion. He wanted to see Yang Lei first and then do other things. Seeing that Night Sorrow's cultivation had reached the core condensation stage, Yang Lei's attitude was the same as Aoi's. she directly yelled, blaming Night Sorrow for being too impulsive. Night Sorrow was very conflicted. Now, everyone said the same thing when they saw him break through. However, he also knew that everyone was concerned about him and wanted his own good. Then, Yang Lei patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. Are you angry? Ninth Senior Sister's words are a bit harsh, but you really can't be rash. Night Sorrow shook his head and said, I'm not angry. You have to believe me. I won't joke about cultivation. My words were indeed harsh. It's my fault. How about this? I'll treat you to a good meal. Yang Lei put her arm around Night Sorrow's shoulder and said, I'm going to take a walk around Tianji Tower, and then we'll go eat, Night Sorrow said. Yes, you're walking on this path now. Any qualifications are very important. Let's go and have a look. Yang Lei understood Night Sorrow's meaning, and also knew that it was necessary. While Yang Lei was chatting with Night Sorrow, Gong Xian also arrived at the Danding Hall, and reported to Yang Yu about Night Sorrow's breakthrough. This made the first elder and second elder very surprised. Then, Gong Xian said that Aoi had already scolded Night Sorrow. 13 has been cultivating at Danding Cliff during this time. His cultivation isn't superficial. Maybe he really feels that he's mature enough. Your 13th junior brother isn't stupid. Yang Yu said. His cultivation speed is too fast. In the future, he shouldn't participate in the competition between newcomers. Just give him merit points. If he participates, there's no way for newcomers to survive. Qian Wu said with a smile. Don't talk about him when you go back. You're doing it for his own good, but it will also bring pressure to him. Yang Yu said to Gong Xian. Night Sorrow left Yang Lei's mansion and went to Tianji Tower. Seeing Night Sorrow, Enforcer Dong was very happy and very polite. Although Night Sorrow didn't work at Tianji Tower, his status had already surpassed Enforcer Dong's. Yin Shui and Jiao Qing had already informed him that Night Sorrow had become the focus of Black Group, and asked him to pay attention to all information about Night Sorrow. In addition, if Night Sorrow had something to do, Tianji Tower's Danding City also had to cooperate with him. Not bad. You've cultivated to the core condensation realm. The energy contained in your body is much stronger than before. Enforcer Dong said. I've had some breakthroughs recently. Night Sorrow nodded. Tianji Tower already knows what the Jiyu family did in Juyuan Town. If the Jiyu family comes to Medicine Valley again, they will be expelled. Enforcer Dong said to Night Sorrow. So this is the order from Tianji Tower? Night Sorrow asked in surprise. Yes, it's the order from the headquarters. Originally, the Jiyu family was still lingering around this area. They were looking for our young miss, but because they had crossed the line in Bamboo Garden Town, the higher-ups ordered them to leave this area. They should know that they can't touch Bamboo Garden Town, Enforcer Dong said. I understand. If you have the chance, please express my gratitude for me. Night Sorrow cupped his hands to Enforcer Dong. No problem. I'll report the situation here in detail. If you need any help, just let me know. Enforcer Dong said to Night Sorrow. How about this? Tianji Tower is well informed. As long as the Sikong family and the Jiyu family come to Eastern Xian Domain, can you inform me as soon as possible? Night Sorrow said. Yes, it's impossible for them to cross the domain without a word. Tianji Tower will know immediately. I'll inform the higher-ups. Also, if you need anything, you can contact Lord Jiao Qing directly. Enforcer Dong said to Night Sorrow. Nothing. Night Sorrow shook his head. He didn't need to contact Lord Jiao Qing. He came here today to let Tianji Tower know about his progress. There was no other meaning. Of course, to know in advance that the Sikong family and the Jiyu family would come to Eastern Xian Domain was what Night Sorrow wanted. After leaving Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow and Yang Lei found a restaurant to eat. Danding City has stabilized. I can go back to Taishan Peak. If you have time, you can go to Ninth Senior Sister's place. Yang Lei poured a bowl of wine for Night Sorrow and said, Ninth Senior Sister is going back. I was planning to come over. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Don't you plan to continue to accompany your Chuyu? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. She didn't expect Night Sorrow to make such a decision. Yi Shang told him about his request at the Celestial Terminus Tower. That's right. You will be the first to know when people from the Jiyu family and the Sikong family come. This way, the Longquan courtyard will be relatively safe and suitable for cultivation. Yang Lei understood Night Sorrow's meaning. I see. If I need to go to Danding Cliff to cultivate, I will ride Tianyu back. The rest of the time, I plan to cultivate in the Longquan courtyard. Night Sorrow nodded. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation /part 7_X. Okay. I will send people to keep an eye out for outsiders. As long as outsiders come to Danding City, they will inform us immediately. Then Sikong family's safety will be no problem. Also, I will ask 6th senior sister to come over and set up some formations around the Longquan courtyard. Then, nothing will go wrong. Yang Lei added. After eating with Yang Lei, Night Sorrow left. He planned to talk to Yu Yangyu, and then take Sikong Chuyu to the Longquan courtyard to cultivate. Most importantly, he wanted to continue to do missions. Silver missions aside, he could continue to sweep the bronze missions. Night Sorrow didn't say these words to anyone. Since there was a Heaven's Fate assessment, he would continue. He wanted to go to the Qingtian domain. Tianji Tower provided this opportunity, so he had to cherish it. Chapter 232. Genius 1 Second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. After returning to the Medicine Valley, Night Sorrow immediately went to the Danding Hall. Other than the disciples on duty, Night Sorrow did not see anyone else in the Danding Hall. After asking around, Night Sorrow found out that Yu Yangyu did not come today. Night Sorrow then went to Yu Yangyu's residence, a quaint attic on Danding Peak. When Night Sorrow arrived, Yu Yangyu was meditating. Greetings, Master. Night Sorrow bowed slightly. Have a seat. Yu Yangyu opened his eyes and pointed to a futon beside him. Night Sorrow nodded and sat down cross-legged. You haven't been here for a few days. You look good and your foundation is solid. Yu Yangyu looked at Night Sorrow and said, Master, you're not angry? Night Sorrow was already prepared to be scolded by Yu Yangyu. Do you think that if your senior brothers and sisters scolded you, I will scold you as well? Actually, that's not the case. On the path of cultivation, the master is just a guide. Everyone's situation is different. The one who understands the situation the best is still yourself. If you try to break through, I will think that you have confidence. Walk your own path and don't mind what others say. Love go little, say Wang. Chu Yu Yangyu said with a smile. He could see that Night Sorrow was being reserved. Yu Yangyu valued being strong in front of opponents and humble in front of people around him. Night Sorrow not only respected him, but also respected every senior brother and sister. Yes, I can't continue to condense my chi. Instead of wasting time, I might as well break through. Night Sorrow nodded. That proves that you are not impulsive and reckless. Why don't you explain to your senior brothers and sisters? Yu Yangyu asked. He knew Night Sorrow well. Night Sorrow was not the kind of person who would change his mind with just a few words. Night Sorrow looked at Yu Yangyu and thought for a while. No matter what senior brothers and sisters say, it's for my own good. Even if I feel that it's wrong, I can't refute it. Yu Yangyu nodded in satisfaction. It's right for you to think and do this. Regardless of whether it's right or wrong, you have to accept our kindness. I understand. Night Sorrow nodded. Every time I accept a disciple, my heart is filled with worry. Every one of you is very determined, and your way of doing things is very different. I'm worried that you will have differences and affect the harmony and friendship. But no matter how many times I worry, it's unnecessary. No matter how different your personalities and beliefs are, you all place great importance on the friendship between senior brothers and sisters. This is what I am most gratified about. Yu Yangyu said with a smile. Night Sorrow's heart trembled. He could feel the good intentions behind Yu Yangyu's words. However, you have to remember the lessons of your predecessors. They are all words of experience. Yu Yangyu reminded Night Sorrow. After all, Night Sorrow was still young. I understand. Master, I plan to go to the Dragon Spring Courtyard to train. It's closer to Danding City, and I can do some missions when I have time. Knight Sorrow said his purpose for coming here. Then what about Seekong? You can't just leave her at Bamboo Garden Peak, right? She's a good girl. Her cultivation, temperament, and figure are all excellent. She has a good temperament. She comes from a big family, but she's not arrogant. Her cultivation talent is also very frightening. Your senior brothers and senior sisters can't compare to her in terms of talent. Yu Yangyu said. He had a very high opinion of Seekong Chiyu. Yi Shang told Lu Yangyu what had happened this time. Lu Yangyu also knew about his situation in the Celestial Terminus Tower. If your safety is not a problem, then go. I will also be in seclusion for a while. Yu Yangyu nodded to Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow bowed and left the pavilion. After listening to Yu Yangyu's words, he felt a lot better. After leaving Danding Peak, Knight Sorrow rode on Tianyu to Taishan Hall. However, he missed again. He didn't see any senior brothers or sisters. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow came to the bamboo grove. When he arrived, Knight Sorrow saw that Gong Xian, Wu Qi, Huanan, and Aoi were all drinking tea together. Senior brothers, you're all here? Yishan greeted them. Yes. If you have nothing to do, come sit with your sixth senior sister. Since you're back from Danding City, you can go visit Master later. Gong Xian pointed to an empty chair and said. After Knight Sorrow sat down, he took a sip of tea from Aoi and said, Big senior brother, I just came back from Master's place. Then Master will inevitably reprimand you. Qing Ji said with some schadenfreude. Sixth junior sister, I think Master can't bear to scold 13. Huanan said with a smile. All of them loved Knight Sorrow dearly. He knew that Yu Yangyu was the same. Tell me, did Master scold you? Wu Qi asked anxiously. Master said that everyone's path is different. Walk your own path and don't mind what others say. Knight Sorrow repeated Yu Yangyu's words. Miss Qing choked on the mouthful of tea that she had just drunk. Cough. Pampering. Master is pampering me. If you pamper 13 so much, why didn't you pamper me before? After hearing Aoi's words, Gong Xian and the others laughed. Then Gong Xian asked Knight Sorrow about his next plan. Knight Sorrow told him his plan. He would do missions in the first half of every month and return to Danding Cliff to cultivate in the second half. Okay, if anyone bullies you, come back and look for me, Gong Xian said. Sigh, another one who's willing to spoil. Big senior brother, you're making our other junior brothers and sisters feel bad. Aoi sighed and joked. Okay. Then I don't care. If 13 is bullied, you can deal with him. Gong Xian glanced at Aoi and said. After chatting for a while, they parted ways. Aoi told Gong Xian that she would bring her disciples to Longquan Courtyard. Knight Sorrow rode Tianyu back to Bamboo Forest Peak. Seeing that Yi Shang had returned, Seekong Chiyu stopped cultivating her swordsmanship. While drinking tea, Knight Sorrow told him his decision. Okay, does Longquan Courtyard have a room for me? Seekong Chiyu asked with a smile. Of course, your loft hasn't been moved. If you don't like it, you can move to the main building. Knight Sorrow said. In your dreams. You're staying in the main building and you're asking me to move over. I didn't know you were so naughty. Seekong Chiyu said with a red face. After hearing Seekong Chiyu's words, Knight Sorrow was stunned. He really didn't think so much. His original intention was that if Seekong Chiyu liked the main building, he could move out. Seeing that Knight Sorrow was in a daze, Seekong Chiyu said in an almost inaudible voice, What's wrong? I don't mean anything. I just feel that it's too awkward. Knight Sorrow shook his head and hugged Seekong Chiyu. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.